Good morning, Night City! There's only been about 400 deaths tonight in the beautiful town of Palisades. I didn't really have a plan for this, but this is how the video is starting. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope the rest of you have been enjoying Cyberpunk as much as I have. I hope you guys sit down and enjoy the show. We have many things to talk about, whether it's Cyberpunk 2077's Arc of Redemption, Dragon's Dogma 2 new gameplay, and we're likely to throw something in there about Baldur's Gate 3. So sit back, my friends, my chooms, and enjoy the show. Why are you like this? You're muted.
Yeah, I was typing. I'm sorry.
Really, real smooth Johnny Silverhands.
A lot of little Johnny Silverhand action.
More like Johnny Copperhands over here.
Johnny Pennies. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't mean that. It's meant to be a lot cooler.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
oh no, you pulled it up. You pulled it off.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Nailed it. That's all I'm gonna say.
You absolutely did. You absolutely did. Oh man, yeah. Mark's hair grew overnight.
Overnight, my forehead is back to being a normal human size. And yeah.
Cool,
and
man.
For her pleasure. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So, like a ray of sunshine in my beautiful gamer life, work has been absolutely horrendous. It's been incredibly busy. I've had no time for anything else. I'm waking up another hour earlier to start my shift. I'm working 12s right now, and I needed a little bit of extra love, and it came in the form of Cyberpunk. I've been absolutely enjoying this game.
Enthralled is the term.
Yeah,
I like. And we're gonna get into it more. I had my reservations about it in the beginning.
Oh, there's all kinds of things we're gonna talk about with
thoroughly impressed with this game.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the Just Gaming Podcast. My name is Ian, and I'm joined by you, our guests of the of Legendary Drops, and Mark, my co-host.
Johnny Silverhand.
I'm joined by Johnny Silverhand. Johnny, tell me, what is it like not being alive?
It kind of sucks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm not used to Keanu Reeves in such a like serious angry man mode.
And you know what? I didn't know if I liked it at first. Like honestly, I really just disliked the character altogether.
Really?
Yeah. And then as the story progressed, I started to fall in love with him a little bit. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. Anyway, so welcome. Thank you guys for coming by again. I hope we're gonna have a really good show. Podcast has been actually getting a lot of love recently. Usually the podcast only gets like like in the past like 200 or 300 views a week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But lately it's been slowly but surely growing in strength, which is really great because it's a lot of fun for us to be able to talk directly to you guys, the community, and also it's really good just to be able to hash out some just topics around games in general. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. First off, I mean, let's just go right into Cyberpunk, right? It's the main piece of news, or not main piece of news, but it's like the main thing.
It's the biggest thing out right now for sure.
Yeah, and what a really weird thing. So it's like it's very weird. So I, like you, bought the game at launch. Did not return it immediately because for the most part it actually ran decently on the machine that I built. But not like not to the point where I'm like, wow, this is really enjoyable. It was just like, yeah, it works. Oh, maybe I'll just wait like a week or so, or a month or so for the game to get some bug fixes and things like that and be in a little bit better of a state to play. Little did I know it was going to be 3 years.
Yeah. But unlike you, I actually didn't buy the game. I took a hard stance on CD Projekt Red and boycotted it. And it's not because I thought the game was bad, good, or different. I just boycotted it on their business practices with this game. And then, like I said, 2 weeks ago, my son said I needed to try it out. Got a new monitor.
Yeah.
And the 3 years wait was worth it. My opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I bought Cyberpunk, I played it for like a couple days when it first came out. It just didn't hit just because there were so many weird things that were wrong with the game. It just didn't live up to the expectations that I initially had set for it. And I put the game down and was like, this is a game that I'm just going to wait for them to come back and fix. And to be honest with you, this has been more of my like 3-year journey of like hating AAA companies.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
like, right, because like this was the game that really launched everybody into that. It's the first game that I can think of that everybody was like, wait a minute, I am sick of getting incomplete games.
Yeah.
Like I'm sick, and then being gaslit into believing that I need to be paying for it.
Yeah, and this game came out on everything, and what they were showing was like so fantastical, and you're like, there's no way this is gonna run like anywhere near runnable on an Xbox One, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like they just put it out anyway, and it was just, man, yeah. This is the one that really, I think, brought unfinished games to the spotlight. Not that they weren't already a problem, but this is the main one because there was so much hype behind this game. This game would have been colossal had it come out in the state it is in now.
Do you know what? I think credit should be given where credit is due, and I don't think the pushback and the spotlight wouldn't have been on it nearly as bad or nearly as much if it wasn't for the fact that Sony took it off of their store for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like,
and duly so. That was a good call on their part, I think, as a business.
I never heard of that ever happening before. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge step that I wish a lot more developers would end up or not developers, but I wish a lot more platforms would take. Steam, Xbox included. Nintendo's not going to, because the games that come out that aren't in the best shapes for them are their own property.
Their own property, yeah.
Yeah, or it's Pokemon or something like that, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I like they don't have a real big third party issue because they don't have a big third party. So
yeah.
So I mean, except for Mortal Kombat 1, they could kick that one off right now, right?
They should.
They should.
Absolutely, they should. Why would you allow people to be able to get suckered into buying that game in the first place? Because like, even though like a lot of people will talk about Mortal Kombat 1 and they'll meme on it online, there's going to be people that are just going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy this game for my kid for Christmas or for their birthday, or somebody's going to find it on the store and be like, oh, sick, Mortal Kombat. And they don't watch videos. They don't watch gaming news or dive into a lot of that kind of stuff. So they're not really going to know, what state the game's in. And then they buy it and then they're just screwed. Because it's not this. I don't think I don't think they have the same rule as. I don't think they have the same rule as Steam does, where we have like 2 to 4 hours and we can return
something like that. I think it's 4 hours of playtime.
Yeah, 4 hours of playtime or something like that. So like, and a lot of other platforms don't have anything like that in place for us to be able to go, hey, actually, this game sucks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And I have yet to ever see any third party game advertise what it looks like on the Switch before it sells. You know what I mean? They're going to show you the highest end that they can.
Yeah,
they're not going to show you that it looks like Roblox.
Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch, but we're just going to show you.
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
We're going to show you
1972.
We're just going to show you 4090 gameplay.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. That's right. And talking about PlayStation taking it off their store, or Sony taking it off their store, I think that had a lot more to do with the demand for refunds and them not wanting to give people refunds, so they just cut it in the bud so they wouldn't have to keep giving refunds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was probably like the refund thing is probably, I don't know, a mix of different things. I just wish more developers would do that when it comes to games that just are really obviously in a bad place when they get released.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a long journey for Cyberpunk. And the worst part is that like you have to have the discussion of like where the game came from. We have to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, guys, it's great now. We can just, and that's like, I want to get into talking about how incredible Cyberpunk is today. and how awesome of a game it is and how much I am absolutely enthralled and enjoying every second of it. But one of the things that I have to like really, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around is the idea that, this is one of the biggest flops in gaming history.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's surprising.
And it's like, it's hard because I can't necessarily, even though it's great, I can't forgive. Right?
Yeah.
I can't forgive. I'd be like, oh, it's okay, guys. Now I got my money's worth 3 years later. 3 years later. It's
for me, since I bought it later than you did, you know what I mean? I'm coming into it when the times are good. So,
right.
so I bought the game for $30. I bought the expansion for $30, and it's a solid $60 game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, I can understand people who bought it from the get-go, and that I don't know how you forgive somebody even though they fixed it. It's still that same problem. It's running good.
So here's the thing. Because they got the money first and then they fixed it later. Yeah. Right? Yes. And then then the question becomes like, that's no different than a lot of the stuff that we deal with already. You know what I mean? And a lot of it has to do with like live services and stuff like that. Halo is on the same path right now.
Yeah, it is.
I recently have seen a lot of people starting to play Halo Infinite. Its multiplayer is in a much better state than it's ever been. But most of the things that they're adding are just things that have existed in previous Halo games.
Yeah.
And it was a change of management that was necessary to make that happen. But I don't know, man. It's hard to really be able to describe how I'm feeling about it, because I think it's great and it should be celebrated that they have fixed the game and that they've worked so hard and so tirelessly to make it what it is today. I'm not happy that it took 3 years, and I'm not happy that it wasn't like this from the day that the game was released. Yeah. So like, part of me wants to celebrate the fact that they held out and they continued to work on a game, even 3 years after the game had been released, right? There's some dedication to the fans. There's some dedication to the craft and the game. But then also at the same time, it's just like, you can't ever be trusted again. Ever. Like, I can't. And what this did was like, this game specifically for me was the nail in the coffin that made me not a pre-order guy. Yeah. Made me not a day one buyer. You know what I mean?
That's 100% fair. You want to praise where the game's at right now because it is so good, but you don't want to reward that praise to the developers for taking 3 years to get it done, right? So you're just kind of in a pickle of it because the game is fantastic, but like I said, I get to miss out on all the jankiness. Don't get me wrong, there's still some jankiness in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had people T-pose and I've had I've had a couple of instances where like I killed a boss and then it like glitched into a wall and he wasn't actually dead, he was still alive and I couldn't loot him. So then that was a whole thing. But there's some jank that is relatively expected in games, right?
Especially open world like this.
But Cyberpunk at launch was not that. It was not that. Yeah. And I realized like there's like Dark Hollow in chat saying I got 150 hours at launch and I totally got my money out of it. But you have to also realize that you were in the very, very minority of that group. There were some people's equipment that the game ran fine on for the most part. However, there was the vast majority of people that it didn't. You know what I mean? And like, even though I'm a PC player, I still have to recognize that the vast majority of the market is on console, and they were the ones that got screwed the most because this was a game that was so far ahead of its time because it is right now the prettiest game in gaming.
Yeah, by far.
3 years later, it is the prettiest game in gaming. Hands down. There is no match. There really is no match. Night City is probably one of the most beautiful game worlds I have ever been in and probably will be in for a long time. Yeah.
Every time I come out of a building, I always just look up, and it's so crazy. Like that. I think it's the one city, like a gaming city that I've played in that feels real. You know what I mean? The buildings aren't out of place. They're not cookie cutter. Everything, it just feels like it's a real dingy, dirty environment, and it's just like steam, the smoke, all the stuff coming off of it, man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Raphael says, I also think that it's sometimes important that you need to know who created the problems for the games. Was it the publisher, the developer, the investor pushing dates, the developers / workers? So in the case of Cyberpunk, who created the issues of Cyberpunk is CD Projekt Red. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's necessarily investors. I think it was that they'd experienced so much success with the Witcher games, right? That they went they went bullheaded, rushed right into Cyberpunk. They had this great idea. They really wanted to see it come to life. They wanted to do AAA. This is, by the way, this sounds like Larian when I'm talking about this kind of thing, right? They've had success with some of their more, they've had success with their AA, their AA games. Now they want to go make a AAA experience. They go head first into it, but the problem is that they just didn't give it enough time for it to be able to cook. They didn't plan it out far enough, and they spent way too much money too quickly, and they needed that return. And they needed that return more readily than they probably imagined they needed to. Especially when you're hiring celebrity voice actors, right? Yeah. Like you're paying for Keanu Reeves. I can't imagine that's cheap. No. I really can't. And I'm not even talking about the voice acting. I'm also talking about the marketing. And this is something that we've discussed many a times, not only in the podcast, but also in videos that I've made in the past. But a lot of these companies spend way too much money on marketing. Like, you have multiple in-person appearances for Keanu Reeves for your video game. That is costing you a lot of money. No matter how much of a good guy we want to think Keanu Reeves is, he may be a good dude, but he's still an actor and a businessman, so that's how he makes money, right? So, like, you're spending a lot of money. Like, they spent a ton of money on marketing on this game, and they needed that return back faster than they probably thought they did. And when they saw the game wasn't in necessarily a complete place, they probably overestimated their ability to fix it.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a little bit to do with the shareholder part of it. I think personally, this is just my take on it. I think that they developed this game scope-wise too large for the hardware that was available at the time. Does that make sense? So they were trying to cover the swath of hardware where this game is just not, like, for everything that they want to do scope-wise, they weren't going to back their scope down to make it run right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But there was a little kickback from their because this game, what the first time they showed this game was 2013,
something like that. Yeah,
something like that. And so investors do want their return. You know what I mean? It was a long development time for this game. As you can see now with them skipping last generation for this new DLC, you can kind of see, like, it's a lot more demanding. The Phantom Liberty is. You can kind of see that scope of where, what this game could have been had it been on bigger hardware at the time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's definitely. I think somebody actually brought it up, saying that there were clear signs of disconnect between management and creatives, where both were being incredibly ambitious. Like, the entire company was being more ambitious than both hardware, and maybe even their ability could really bring them completely. And it took this long to be able to bring everything into a cohesive package. And while I don't disagree with, like, Fonz, I see Fonz in chat. What's up, buddy? Saying that Cyberpunk was always a great game. It wasn't. Like, it was it was, but it also wasn't. Like, performance-wise and the ability to enjoy and play the game. Actually, the playability of the game is what really ruined it. Yes, I 100% agree that all of the things that make Cyberpunk great are still here. But they're brought to us in a more cohesive package where the game works properly. And then not only on top of that, but, like, the whole revamping of the skill system has completely changed my experience and enjoyment of the game. Like I could not enjoy playing the game previously with how generic the skill system was and how it just didn't meet my expectations as somebody who enjoys playing RPGs. Yeah. But nevertheless, now, with the 2.0 update, I mean, the game just feels incredible to play. Leveling up is interesting. My build right now, the way that I play the game, is completely unique from the way that you're playing the game.
100%. Yeah.
100%. Completely different than you are playing. I feel like I feel like I have more agency. Yeah. And because things are more stable, the game plays better. The overhaul to the experience systems or the leveling systems, everything feels like it's brought together. Even the smaller, more nuanced changes, like to the health system and stamina systems and things like that, also make the game just feel much more better to play.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the things I like the most about it is, I think, like, speaking back to where the game started, is like like you said, all of the stuff's already there. They did a very, very good job, just I guess initially from the game, of their side story quest, right? Their side missions. They don't feel like they're just filler. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm actually working towards something with the different people in the side quest, like Judy or what's her name, Panam. Just the different areas and stuff. It feels like it's a fleshed out deal. I don't feel like I'm just doing a whole lot of fetch quests, and they did a really good job with that.
And here's the thing, like, I almost wish Fonz was on the show today, because it'd be an interesting conversation to have. But the thing what Fonz is bringing up, like, it played great on the Series S. He only had 2 crash, or Series X, except for the fact that most console owners were still on the previous generation. This was 2020 when this game came out. There was nothing else for us to look forward to. The pandemic sweeping across the entire world. Most people didn't have the money or the means to be able to purchase higher end equipment or
the accessibility of that equipment.
Because there were chip shortages and all that kind of stuff, right? So, like, we have to. I don't want to play revisionism, right? Like, when Cyberpunk released, it was in a bad state for the people that could play it. And even as somebody that had a 2070, I think I had at the time, is when I was playing it. Like, even for me, it just felt rough. It didn't feel like I was going to be able to enjoy the game how I wanted to. But it's one of those things where it's like, and really, I kind of want to put the entire conversation of, like, what it was and what it is now almost to bed, because, like, this is Cyberpunk today, and this is exactly what it was supposed to feel like, or at least what we imagined the game would feel like when it was released. And I'm happy that it's in the state it is now. However, it does need to continue to serve as a cautionary tale to not only consumers, but also to really ambitious companies in the future. Because it's not something that's it's not something we can necessarily just brush away. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you can look at, let's talk about what you just said. You can look at it this way. I mean, is it hardware is always going to limit what you can do in software, right? But you want your developers to always push the envelope. I mean, one of the knocks for, say, like a Starfield is that it just feels old. It feels like an old, tried and true Bethesda formula, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's like that so that it can run on the current hardware. Does that make sense? So, I mean, what's that line? I mean, do we need them to stop scoping down, or is it
no?
Should they start developing for PC first and then working their way down?
So the thing is that if you think back, they were working with really, really experimental hardware at the time, because this is really like the one of the starting places of, like, DLSS and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I think wasn't the game designed for DLSS 1.0?
Yeah, 1.0.
Right, and now we're at 3.5.
Yeah.
So, like, the technology has continued to grow, get better, and get in a better state. And a lot of those technologies were still very new in the consoles as well. So it was just an ambitious game. It was technologically ambitious, and it was also, like, scope. This game is huge.
It is.
Like, Night City is huge. It blows my mind, because, like, I really did just play it for a couple of hours when it came out, and then just put it down and said, I'll come back to this game when it's in a better place. And now when I come back to it, I'm like, this game is massive. Night City is massive. And I don't have any complaints about its world. It has, I said it at the beginning, this is one of the greatest game worlds I've ever seen. And it's not even just from a looks perspective. I mean, obviously it looks absolutely fantastic. The glow of the lights, the like after after it rains and the shine of the streets, things like that. Like there's so many really cool small details. There's so many layered details in this game. It just keeps you entranced.
Yeah. Watching my son play it on his 4090, okay, where he's got ray tracing, like the native, you know what I mean? Like he's pushing it as far as it can go. It's jaw dropping. It is absolutely like whatever you say about ray tracing this or that. Yes, you can do like where I'm running. I'm not running ray tracing on, but this game has a lot of reflections in the game. Once that ray tracing is on, this game looks unreal. Especially at night on that game, it is unreal how good it looks. It's crazy. 3.0
FSR. We're not talking about FSR. We're talking DLSS, which I think they're different technologies. FSR is AMD, isn't it?
Yeah, it's AMD's technology, which FSR3 just released, and they're going to put out for 2 different games. But from what I understand and what I've read, is FSR is actually going to be available to work on NVIDIA cards. Isn't that weird? So is
FSR for the graphics card, or is it for the CPU?
The graphics card.
Oh, okay.
So like DLSS, it's a switch that you can turn off and on. Okay, for a developer, it's not so much like DLSS is what NVIDIA is like native for NVIDIA cards, but developer chooses whether to use it or not. The same thing with FSR.
I got you. Okay.
And so FSR hasn't worked as well as DLSS, but there's promising hope for FSR3.
You're the tech guy, not me. I just plug and play. I just want to play the game. I'm literally the guy that, like, when I'm building my PC, okay, what's the most expensive one? That must be the best one. Let's just try that.
That's the big one.
Hopefully it works. Hopefully I don't fry another CPU like I did last time. So let's actually talk about Cyberpunk and the experience of playing it for the first time.
Yeah.
So I still remember things from originally playing it, but now I'm much further in the game than I ever have been in the past. And oh man, I love when games do have a really like a really good level scaling. Yeah. Where like the power creep or something like that, I guess is what the problem. Like I feel really strong because of the decisions that I've made.
No need to get choked up over it. I understand you're excited.
I feel really strong because of the build choices that I've made, and that's really cool because it's like, you know, I kind of theory crafted what kind of character I wanted to play like, and now I'm playing like that character, and it's really strong.
And I don't feel like the fights are easy or easier because I've gotten more powerful. Does that make sense? I can just do more cool stuff. Like being able to since I went tech, I'm using lightning bolt to blow stuff up. It does more damage, but I still get like those dudes hit harder, right? You know what I mean? So it's like it's almost a push when it comes to it. So it hasn't been any easier for me, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for me, yeah. And actually, that's one of the things I also really appreciate with games too, is like, you don't just get to just be like, I can see how I'm going to be pretty broken by the time that I can get into the, once I get into the DLC and then I have access to, you know, some different skill trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Higher level software, hardware, all that kind of different stuff. But right now, I have that really cool trade-off of me being really squishy. It only takes a few hits to kill me, but I am a absolute powerhouse as long as I'm not seen. If I play stealthy, or even if I don't play stealthy, I can run and gun, but I have to really use cover appropriately. I have to, you know, really try to be relatively tactical about, you know, where I'm going to be, how many enemies, you know, like how I'm taking down enemies and stuff like that. Balancing my health because I have an overdrive thing, which will actually use my health to be able to load quick hacks onto enemies. So like I will like delete half of my health bar to put quick hacks on people, and then I'll get health back if they die.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So and then I think I also have like a life leech with my mono wire as well, which is really cool. So like and then there's also an ability at one point that I'm going to be able to like spread my quick hacks with my mono wire.
That's going to be pretty dope.
Yeah.
So I'm just running around with my like I've got asthma, just constantly just hold on, guys. And then going about my business.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Hay fever, guys.
Yeah. So like build wise, the skill trees are really impressive. I can see a lot of replay value just in the skill trees alone because there's so many different routes that you could go, whether like it's intelligence or cool or reflexes, body. Except for I have noticed like for my build, how it's gonna work is I will actually have tech and intelligence maxed out. So really, if I was going to do anything else, it would just be like the opposite build, right? It would just be body and cool and reflexes, or body and reflexes, or something like that I would max out. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun just building my character, running around, trying to find weapons and stuff like that. Have you found any? You're probably further in the game than me, right?
Yeah, I'm further in the game. All of my weapons are iconic right now, so just calm down.
Are they?
Calm down. Yeah, they are. Except for one. Except for the main one I use. There is. I think the one thing I like the most about the weapons is I can pick up every weapon that gets dropped. It's not you kill a dude and then whatever. You can actually pick up the weapon they were using, which is super cool. Inventory allows you to carry quite a bit. You can break down for parts and components and what. Don't do it. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. I don't want to talk about it yet. We'll get there. But it's like the weapons that I'm finding that are good for my build, I'm finding them pretty readily. So it's not like I'm trying to find that secret, whatever, but you find that pistol that you like, you find that shotgun, sniper rifle, precision rifle, assault rifle, you know what I mean? So I haven't really been delving into smart weapons, have you?
I have because I'm an int build.
Them that much.
I'm an int build, so there's actually a part of my tree that goes directly into smart weapons.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Where I get to like add more effects. I get to add more effects to smart weapons and change how they work, and they'll actually like counteract with my quick hacks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I haven't built into that part of my tree yet. At the start, it's all about my quick hacks because it is. Oh man, it is so satisfying just being like looking at like 5 dudes and just being like, let's see here. Cyberware malfunction, and then I forgot what the other one is. There's like overload or something like that, and I hit all of them, and they're all just sitting there talking to each other, and they're like, yeah, no, so I went to the bar, and they're like, and they just die. They all just die. Wow. All 3 of them just die together. I don't have to do anything.
I'm gonna answer that for Dark Hollow. You're right, Dark Hollow, that you don't get stuff from the cops, but I don't ever fight the cops, so I wouldn't know for sure on that.
Lawful good.
Like I don't. I think that the cop part of it's probably my least favorite of this whole part of the whole game. Is like I just avoid it at all cost. Yeah. I'll just run and hide till my stars go down. So.
Not a GTA fan, huh?
No. I just
I feel like fighting max tack would be like a really good measure of your strength though.
Oh yeah, like a build check.
Yeah, like a build check because max tack's they strong. Yeah, actually cops are no joke now. Don't even look at cops. If you get too close to them, they're just like they're like looking at you and you're like, why are you walking? You know what?
Yeah. No shit. I think I was walking. I think I was running by and I accidentally bumped one of them, and then it turned into this
it happened to me too.
4-star fight out of nowhere. I'm just like, come on, man.
Oh, you bumped into the police chief.
Yeah, it was somehow.
So weapon wise, I can't. So I found a. I mean, obviously, people are gonna be like, man, this is old news, but
yeah, right.
Especially because I'm not even in the in the DLC yet, but I did the fighting one, the punch fights, the boxing fights that you can run around and do, the street fights around town. There's one dude that you go to fight, and if you have high enough body, he will bet his sniper rifle, and he's like an old war vet or whatever like that, or at least I think it's stolen glory, but we'll see.
Stolen valor.
Yeah, stolen valor. So so you fight the dude and he'll bet his sniper rifle, and then once you win it, it is sick because Well, it sucks because when you pull it out, it works like the like heavy, like light machine guns where you're slow. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It slows you down. You can't really move. You can't run. You can't do anything. But you can shoot 3 rounds, and they're explosive rounds, and they do like insane amounts of damage. Like, it's very, very strong. So I always like using those when I have like a height advantage and stuff like that. I'll pull that out and just start tearing people up. I think it also has like if you put points into increasing your excuse me. If you put points into increasing your reload speed, it'll do more damage. The higher your reload speed, the more damage it does. Yeah, so you might want to go get that if that's the thing you got.
I've got a sniper I can't tell you because I got it in the DLC, so I can't tell you
I don't know
what it is.
I don't know about that.
My sniper's better. My sniper's better.
There's also I just recently found a smart SMG from you know where you have to like break into like sabotage the float.
Yeah.
So there's an email on one of the computers where a guy says, hey man, I hid some really high powered tech in a shipping crate. And if you go find the shipping crate, it's inside there, and it's actually really good too because it has some like extra stuff that runs with my int build and is pretty cool. There's one that I really want to go and get to that I've seen a lot of people talk about, where there's one that like boosts shock damage and stuff, and since my build is very like shock oriented, I'd really like to probably try to get my hands on that as well at one point.
Like I'm supposed to be doing like building towards like an SMG build, but I just don't like the SMGs. I think they walk a little bit too much for my taste.
Really?
Like, dude, like I'm loving pistols and that
pistols feel
rifle.
Awesome. Pistols
they're so good.
I think pistols in first-person shooter / action RPG games like Cyberpunk or like Borderlands have always been my favorite.
Yeah,
like I've always enjoyed pistols in Borderlands.
Even Destiny, I used to love to run around with that hand cannons.
I like hand cannons too. Yeah, there's something more rewarding about them because you have to be so accurate. You know what I mean? But they have like a pretty decent fire rate.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's just something really satisfying about using pistols for some reason. They feel good. How about vehicles? Yeah, how do vehicles feel to you now? I feel like they feel a lot. To me, they feel better to drive.
Like, I don't know because I didn't play the game at launch, but it's probably my least favorite mechanic in the game. They feel super, like, if it's worse than what it is now, then it was dog awful.
What
clunky.
What vehicles do you have?
I have the initial starting car. I have a motorcycle, which is what I drive now all the time because no. Scorpions.
So you can get Jackie's if you go do Jackie's funeral.
Yeah.
That one is really nice, by the way.
I didn't know the guy, so I didn't go to his funeral. Like I thought it was like I've only spent about 10 minutes with him, so whatevs. Didn't really build a relationship. You know what I mean? He just kind of
Mark.
And then I got one of Dillman's
Please,
cars.
My funeral.
Please.
Go to Jackie's funeral. Oh my god.
But like I've stolen other cars and driven other cars. It's just like driving mechanics in open world games has never been really good anyway. I'm trying to think of any other than like Burnout Paradise, where it's a driving game that's open world. The driving mechanics are that great. Sliding and trying to go around corners in this game feels super awkward and slow. I would liken this to where you complain about horse travel in, Red Dead, or which I liked Red Dead's horse travel, but you know what I mean. So,
yeah, I am not gonna lie. I actually 100% disagree with you on this.
Yeah, I'm not shocked,
and I kind of hate you for your take.
Oh, okay.
I actually enjoy driving in this game.
Really, it is like the absolute worst.
There's actually a menu for you to be able to tune it, so you can actually tune how driving feels for yourself. But moreover,
I'll have to look at that.
But moreover, there's so many other car options that you can get in the game that I have found that have like drastically increased my enjoyment of driving vehicles. Okay. Give you a really good example of this. Have you found Johnny's car?
No. Not yet.
Oh, did you do the Delamain quest line?
I did.
You know when you're out in the warehouses and you're chasing that one car around?
Oh, is that black car that's in there?
Yeah, that's Johnny's car.
Oh, okay.
There's a key that's hidden under some it's like hidden under some like knocked over like refrigerators and stuff.
Okay.
It's right next to it. There's like a box that's underneath that stuff, and it has the key to his car. It's a weaponized car, by the way.
I'm gonna have to go pick it up.
Yeah, it has guns and rockets and all that stuff, and it's a little floaty, but it's fast as shit. It's so fast. Like you get, I can't remember what the top speed is, but it's very quick. But out of vehicles that I have that I really enjoy using, definitely Jackie's bike and Johnny's car are top tier.
I guess
I'm sure there's more to
the stupid funeral 8 weeks.
Well, I've just
later.
been doing a ton of like side quests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, like the main quest stuff, which I want to get into. Actually, we'll get into that after this.
Okay.
But there's so many really cool side rewards that you get from doing side quests.
Yeah.
Like unique stuff, like unique iconic weapons and stuff like that I really, really like. You know what I mean? Because it makes it feel like doing side gigs and stuff are actually rewarding. While they're not going to have any impact on the overall narrative of the game, I do really enjoy them because they actually do. I do feel like I'm getting something out of it. Yeah. They all feel unique.
They do. It's not go fetch this, go hand this guy this. It's literally go do something, and then it has its own story arc within that side quest. With different characters, motivations, and whatnot. They're super fun.
Whiskey Neat with a super chat saying, "Love the channel. Thanks for the great content." Hey, thanks for being here. If it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be making videos. So yeah, no, I that's one of the things I do really appreciate is the fact that like they did a really good job at making all of the side content feel rewarding, and then not only that, but they made it feel like relatively unique, which is something that a lot of these open world games really fail at doing.
Yeah,
it
doesn't feel like it's added on content to make for bloat. You know what I mean? They don't feel like bloat like most games do.
Yeah, especially gigs. Like gigs are very unique.
Yeah. Yep.
Even though and which is crazy because like even though like the enemies aren't unique. You know what I mean?
They're not.
But I don't ever get bored of fighting anything in the game, even though like the enemies aren't really like all that unique.
No, they're not. But like just because I can gib them like I want to, chop a head off, chop an arm off. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The Voodoo Boys.
Monowire, dude. Monowire, like you just literally just shred people. It's so great. I didn't realize Monowire would dismember people, and if you dismember somebody, they automatically die. So you cut some dude's leg off, like they just die immediately. And so like the Cyber Cycle fights?
Yeah. Like
she wants you to bring them in alive.
Why?
I don't know. She's weird. I don't know. She probably wants. It's Cyberpunk.
I'm gonna fail that one.
Cyberpunk, so she's probably gonna do some weird stuff with them. I guess I don't know. It's because she wants to try to like rehab them, is what it is, or see if it's possible to rehab cyber psychos.
Speaking of the side quests, this is one thing that I enjoy about the DLC for this game, is that it isn't like it's not after you beat the main game and then it goes into it. You get to a certain part in the story, and then you get a phone call, and that triggers Phantom Liberty, right?
Yeah.
And then you can go start doing that, and then hop back and forth between the two.
I love how like the most replayed ad in this game is like whatever that ass.
Oh, the dude
thing.
with the ass right in his face. I'm just like, oh my god.
It's like at all time, anytime you're watching like any gameplay clips, it's always just this dude just like,
yeah,
yeah. It's so funny. So yeah, no, like side questing is really cool. The one thing that I really have to say that I really appreciate about Cyberpunk, and it does really well, and it's something that a lot of games need to take a lesson from, is they really do make the main story quests feel like a main story quest. Like
lots of
almost every single one of them is a massive set piece.
Yeah.
And I mean, and they're not only are they unique, I mean, it's the same like repeatable thing, right? Like you do your detective work, figure things out. You go into the planning phase, and then you go into the execution phase of like whatever the plan is, right?
Yeah.
I love the ads in this game. Did you see that in the background? It's like it said Second Amendment isn't only for the rich, and it shows like a pregnant wife holding like a gun. Dude, the ads in this game literally make me lose it. Anyway, so it's the same general setup every single story quest, but the way they're presented is so unique, and the voice acting's really good, the performance capture is really good, and just the spectacle of the missions is so awesome. Like especially the parade. Like I literally just sat there watching the parade.
I knew you would too. Like as soon as those hologram koi fish started going, you were just going to be like watching it. It is a spectacle. It is a spectacle. Like all that stuff's going on while you're trying to sneak around and take out snipers.
I was like, if we could have parades like this, there would be more parades.
There would be more parades. Are awful. They need to go to this.
Yes. I am calling for parade reform.
Sign the bill.
I want giant glowing koi fish now.
Do we need money for research for cancer? No. We need hologram parades. That's where
probably
all of our tax dollars need to go.
Cancer.
That probably caused cancer. Yes.
Yeah. So the spectacle of the story is really cool, and I actually really like the detective side of the main story quest.
Yeah, I was doing that when you're doing the playback thing. Mm-hmm. I was going through there, and Drake is like, this is my least favorite part of this whole deal. And I was like, dude, this is one of my favorite things. This is one of the reasons I like the Batman games, because you actually had to do the detective stuff and look for clues and all that stuff. Yeah, I loved it. And he was all pooping on it, and I was like, whatever.
Well, to be fair, you know what it is. There's just a lot of these. There's a lot of these baby gamers. You know what I mean? A lot of these baby gamers that like they have no attention span for story. All they want to do is bang, bang, bang. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like that's relatively accurate. There's and the thing there's friends of mine that I've talked to about games, within the last little while, that like they're just not into the story sections of games. They don't understand why. Oh man, it takes so long. It's so drawn out. And I'm like, it's an RPG.
Yeah. Roll.
Yeah, there's the roll, and you're just trying to do the game part.
Yeah, he is a zoomer.
Zoomer brain. Yeah.
But no, like his build is such a zoomer build. So he basically
such a zoomer build.
Oh,
is there builds by age now?
Such a zoomer build. He can literally never run out of dash. Okay, the way he's built his character, and he just b-hops. If you know what b-hopping is in the audience, he just b-hops with a samurai sword, and just obliterates people, just zooming through the levels.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what's great is that games allow you to have the freedom to play it the way you want.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely a testament to this game that they pulled off really well. Like you can play the way that you want, and you can feel and it can still feel rewarding for playing the way that you want to play it.
That's good.
It's in stark contrast to some other RPGs that are similar to it. But yeah, so that's definitely a big plus on my end when it comes to Cyberpunk.
Yeah. The builds are, like I said, I didn't get to experience what the builds were like beforehand, so I've only experienced what they are now.
It just felt really. You know what it felt like? Starfield.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to do this, but
we're not gonna go. We don't have to go into that right now if you don't want to. But that's actually, if you're looking for a strong comparison of what the builds used to be like, it's like Starfield, where like you just really don't feel anything from it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Like it does. Obviously, it does provide some benefit, some added benefit, but the way that you play is always still the same.
It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't change my gameplay.
Yeah. It doesn't really change your gameplay. No.
It just allows me to do more of the same stuff.
Yeah, and and to be honest with you, like that is really tough to do when you're at a game that like obviously is going to have a lot more weight on the gunplay, because it is a first person shooter.
It is a first person shooter first, I think.
Yeah, Yeah. So like, of course you're going to have, that's kind of a difficult like hurdle to be able to get over, is the trying to make that feel unique depending on the choices that you make.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact is that like melee weapons actually like work in this game. So
yeah, they do work, and they work well.
Yeah. Cause like,
did you get that katana out of the fireplace that was in that forge? It's an iconic katana right off the bat. Pretty close. So I can't remember what the mission was. It's pretty early on, but you go in and there's a forge right there in the middle of the room, and there's a katana handle, and you just pull it out, and it's a flaming katana. But
no, I don't know.
That chops people up pretty good.
No, yeah. I have a couple different like unique katanas. I actually really like the knife that I got from the from like the very first big mission, like the one where like Saburo gets strangled.
Okay.
Like you know what knife I'm talking about? Because it's supposed to have a twin knife. I don't know when you get the twin. I want the twin.
Fucking homeboy, it's the mission where you rescue Evelyn.
The mission. Oh. I wonder if I can go back to that place.
I don't know. I don't even know how you'd find it, to be honest with you, in this city.
Yeah, it is pretty dense. I don't know. You could probably figure it out. I don't know. Like, and I can't imagine that the place is just like closed now. Like the gates are shut.
Yeah, game over. Sorry, bud.
It's the katana on the roof. I didn't go on. Why would I have gone on the roof? It was like underground.
Why didn't you go on the roof is the question.
If you miss an iconic weapon, you can find it at dealers. That's really cool. That's cool. Really cool. I really like that, actually. That's really impressive. That's a lot. There's a lot of foresight in that. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, there are some really cool places where I've noticed that they've put things for sale for me. What makes it easier for me to get.
I got the 5-finger discount on this one, buddy.
Like, you would talk about like really smart quality of life choices is something like making it where I can either craft a quick hack or I can just buy it outright. Yeah. I have the choice to either buy the plans to make it, or I can just buy it and then be done.
Yeah.
So you can, like, giving you the opportunity. Do you want to engage with the crafting system? Oh, you don't? You just want to buy it? That's cool. Here you go.
Yeah. I need to actually start messing with my quick hands. I think I'm still running like the 3 that I got initially, even though I've changed my deal, cybernetic. But
oh yeah, best quality of life is the infinite health items. Yeah, that I definitely enjoy the breathing apparatus being a rechargeable thing. The funny thing is that like stuff like that is like so standard in so many other games that it's kind of wild to me that like it go like I don't understand how developers don't stick with it. You know what I mean? Like, don't just like realize like, oh, this is really good. This should just become like a standard in action games.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense.
Have you ever played a game that you really enjoyed the fact that like outside of like a CRPG, have you enjoyed a game that like made like healing item scarcity a good thing?
No. I haven't.
Yeah, I can't really think of any game that like, especially an action game. No. So, man,
you need to get into the DLC.
I mean, it's gonna take a while. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, or the beginning of this episode.
As soon as you rescue Evelyn, it triggers it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I already rescued her.
Did you?
I guess not. I don't know. Maybe not.
Did you?
Are you talking about from like the XBD guys?
Yeah, the snuff filmers.
Yeah. I saved her from there, but I haven't continued that quest line any further. I went and started doing other stuff. Yeah. I would 100% recommend to wait until the point of no return. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not gonna rush the game.
Yeah, I'm at the point of no return on the main story for the vanilla story, and then I've just been completely playing Phantom Liberty and coming back and doing all the side missions and gigs and stuff of the vanilla. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I kind of just want to I kind of just want to chill and just play the game and just do what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to put it any better than that. Like I feel like it's probably best just to take the game one piece at a time rather than me just absolutely hammer on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more. Not like I've only got 30 something hours into it maybe. And so, like I said, I mainlined the heck out of it. It was hard for you since you played it before this. You know what I mean? Hard for you to tell.
Yeah, it was a little it was a little rough when I first started playing because obviously I do have prior impressions of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's do the thing.
Okay.
Because I think it's an interesting conversation, and I saw somebody actually, you know what's really funny? I saw somebody make a video that was titled "You Can't Compare Baldur's Gate 3 to Starfield."
I don't think you can. Personally, I don't.
Why?
It's not an apples to apples comparison. You can compare parts. You can compare quality. You can compare storytelling and stuff like that. But because the gameplay is so drastically different, environments are so different, I don't think it's a straight apples to apples comparison. Quality is something that you can.
But they're both video games.
That's what I'm saying. You're that guy. They're both video games, and yes, you can compare quality to quality. RPG, you can go story to story.
Yeah.
You can, you know, stuff like that. But when it comes to actual gameplay, I don't think they're comparable. I don't think it's an apples to apples.
What about Cyberpunk to Starfield?
100%.
Yeah.
These are the same game, different environments. It's all it boils down to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is an apples to apples comparison game wise.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's one of the more eye-opening things that I've experienced from playing it, where it's like I could not get myself into playing Starfield as hard as I tried. However, this game does all of the things that Starfield failed to do for me.
Yeah.
Starfield failed to wow me.
Yeah.
Just genuinely, it just failed to wow me. There was no moment where I was just like, oh, dude, this is really interesting, or oh, man, that's really cool. Where Cyberpunk has these really cool set piece times, like we just discussed earlier, where you have like the parade and like the big huge things are like the big laser koi fish are floating, and then you're doing like, you know, you're scaling this building to take out these snipers. Like there's really cool story set pieces that really just drag you into the game and don't let you go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I understand that like they're different. They're supposed to be different experiences, right? Because so here's the thing. This is the terminology that I hate. Yeah, but that's not. But Cyberpunk's not a Bethesda RPG. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What the fuck is a Bethesda RPG? I don't even think people really know what that even is anymore.
I do.
Because if a Bethesda RPG to me is like Skyrim, which did have awesome epic set pieces, right?
Yeah.
I fought fucking dragons.
Yeah.
Like I was a dragonborn. There were really cool moments.
I don't want to take you out of your train of thought. Let's look at Skyrim versus Starfield right off the bat. Okay.
I like how you're like, I don't want to take you out of your thought. I'm gonna interrupt. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
But I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know how Skyrim grabbed you right from the get-go? You woke up on that little wagon. Dude's talking to you, and then you have to avoid a fucking dragon. Okay?
Yeah.
Starfield, you go into a mine and you are mining rocks. That's where it starts at. You have to. Not only that, you have to walk the whole goddamn thing.
Not only that, but you also are going to experience rocks for the rest of your playthrough.
Like it's like holy shit, bro. Like there's no fishing line in the water just waiting for you to nibble it. It's just like, oh, there's a lake here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you know, I think I brought this up to you when I was playing when I just restarted Cyberpunk for the first time, and I just had the recollection. I'm like, so the reason I don't like Starfield is because the game just didn't deliver for me in the first, few hours.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like I've seen people push back on this, right? Well, you didn't put enough time in. I shouldn't fucking have to. I shouldn't have to. What? Like, I understand some people want like a slow burn from certain games, and I can understand that. But that's not what the objective of a game is supposed to do. It's supposed to entertain from the minute that you start. And like, for me, at least, this is obviously a personal opinion. This is not a blanket result of the entire game, but Starfield from the very beginning was just fucking boring. It was just boring. Like, oh, hey, you're a miner. Oh, you touched a crazy artifact. Guess what? You are now immediately following touching that space artifact. A space adventurer now. Just hop on this. Hop on. Here you go. Here's my free spaceship. You're a space adventurer now.
That was 25 minutes later. Calm down. Okay.
Bye. I'm like, dude. Yeah, I'm like,
no, you're a part of this group now. Go meet them at their lair.
Yeah, or fly wherever you want because you've already got a spaceship already, and it's like, there's just nothing sexy about that.
No, it wasn't set up well.
No, it was just really bad. I was like, dude, this is just bad. Like, I don't need a game to grab me after 15 hours. I need a game to grab me within the first hour.
Yeah. At least.
Make me want to keep playing you. Right?
Touch you. Yes. No. 100%. Like
and it's not even an attention span thing. Like I can play CRPGs. I played Baldur's Gate 3. I've played Baldur's Gate 3 probably 6 times all the way through by now. You know what I mean? Like, or not 6 times. It's actually like 3.5. Yeah. But yeah.
I beat Starfield. I beat it. Yay.
And this isn't like a dogging thing. I don't want it to be like us sitting here being like,
Starfield's good. No.
No.
Starfield's stupid. No. I just like, okay, so let's do the apples to apples since we're doing that. Story. Who do you think delivers a better story with more compelling companions?
Well, no, like it's not even, I mean, I don't even think it's really,
do.
Remember how in Red Faction you also started a game in a mine? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thanks for the 25 Ron.
I don't know what that is.
Jacob Andrew, thank you for the 25 Ron. Is that like Romanian? I don't know. Thanks for the Ron.
No, like it's, I think we're like comparison wise is like you said, Starfield doesn't have a whole lot of set pieces at all. It really doesn't. And they're
Arasaka extreme performance.
It just, I don't know. It like when you're comparing it RPG wise to this RPG, it just it falls short. Like it allows Cyberpunk to kind of outshine it. You know, both games having jank. You know what I mean? Still,
yeah.
Like Cyberpunk like completely outclasses Starfield. I think. Not that Starfield's a bad game. I'm just saying that it outclasses it in what it does. What it does do.
Yeah, it's so like I really I can't understate that when you were playing an RPG, having a good story is kind of fucking necessary.
What?
And having a story that can like really grab you from the get-go is also really important, especially when we're trying to talk about making RPGs reach into a wider audience. Look at a game like, nobody's ever played this one before. This one's probably under the radar for a lot of people, but Baldur's Gate 3. Right? Baldur's Gate 3, if you guys haven't played it, you start off in an alien space nautiloid 5th dimension shit on fire, being attacked by dragons. You just had a brain worm shoved into your eyeball, and now you're just trying to figure out like, hey, how do I get out of this situation? Then some like hopped up space alien green lizard girl comes out of nowhere trying to kill you, but then says, yeah, I guess you're gonna come with me. And then like it's just constant crazy. It's just all of this like wild chaos going on at the beginning, and you're just so interested because you're like, what is actually going on right now? Even for people that have never played any any Dungeons and Dragons in the past or any Baldur's Gate in the past, they're immediately drawn in because they're like, dude, what is happening in this game? let me figure out what's going on. Whereas mining rocks. Go mine some rocks. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like you have to take it more seriously. You really do. And like I feel bad for the story writers because I'm sure they worked hard on it. And I'm not throwing shade at them necessarily, but this is a space odyssey. Like, just wow us. You don't need to be rooted in realism. And that was like always the thing that they're like, oh man, yeah, but we're going to make it realistic. I get enough of that in real life. I want aliens and like, and space girlfriends that have like tentacles and shit.
My biggest issue with the narrative of Starfield is that there isn't a real big bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. You haven't finished it. I don't want to spoil in the
Starfield feels like work to play. Fuck.
It does. Oh, God. It does. But there's no big bad. Ian.
You get cryptocurrency for playing Starfield.
You get to a point in the story where you're either going to do this, it's this or this, but it's the same outcome. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just you're siding with one side or the other. But it's still the same outcome. So it doesn't. I don't know. There's no big bad to fight, and there's no like. What's the point in playing the game? Like, I'm not defeating anything. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It just
and that's lost. The thing. And it's one of those deals where you can really do a good job of contrasting, like even just general quest design, right? Because like I brought this up where I was talking about like how really cool and unique side quests are in Cyberpunk. However, they feel those same kind of things feel really generic in a game like Starfield because the delivery is just not there. Yeah, I think that's just the best. That's just the best way to say it. You know what I mean? Like I always feel like, oh, there's pirates. Please go kill the pirates before they go take over my farm. There's spacers, which are just another word for pirates. They're gonna try to take my farm. They're gonna try to. They took over this place. There's pirate spacers. The worst kind.
Pirate spacers.
The worst kind. Go take care of them because they're going to sell my daughter to...
the farm.
The farm. But then it's like, I go and I do gigs, right? Which is relatively generic, which you would classify as a generic side quest. But it's like, hey, man, this guy's sister got kidnapped by this gang to be like their personal ripper doc. Can you break her out? And I'm like, okay, this is really cool. All right, I go in and it feels unique because the place I'm sent to is set up differently. There's different hazards that are associated with it. The gangs have different abilities and stuff to them. Like the animals are like like beefed up like muscle head type of like cyberpunks, I guess you would call them. And they all use different tools of the trade or whatever. But also like thematically, their areas are different when you go to fight them. Their cars are different. The languages are different. There's a lot of things that make it feel much more unique that at the end of the day, if you boil it down, you're still just killing humans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're still technically the same enemy, but they've layered enough world lore on top of it that it does feel unique. And the way that you approach things are also unique. And that's the other thing that this is something that I need to fucking write this down. I really do. Impactful choice. Different
100%
approaches.
Nero. I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so what does he say? I don't know. Starfield was the first Bethesda game that bored you to death. It feels rooted in 2000s game design. Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. So this is my thing. This is exactly what I like to bring up. One of the things that makes Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 incredible games is the fact that there are so many ways for you to be able to dissect or dude, my language is all fucked up. Working 12-hour days, 6 days a week is really frying my brain lately. That's why, like, I told people, I was like, probably not going to be able to make a lot of videos because I can't speak. So impactful choices in being able to choose the direction in which you tackle an objective. That is what makes things really fun and interesting to play, because you feel like you genuinely have an impact on the story or on the greater narrative or anything in general. And the reason I say it like that is like, take that mission that I just brought up. Sister's captured by these thugs. She's being used by them to be their like personal doctor. I can go guns blazing straight through the door. Yeah. I can sneak over, climb on something on another building, jump over onto the roof, sneak through a window, and then stealthily go through and kill everybody inside the building, getting to her last. I could do a mix of those two things. There's actually another path that I could take if I had the technical ability to open a door in the basement, and then I could actually just hack the security systems of the building and then attack them with their own tech. There's different ways for you to approach an objective. The problem is that a lot of games, especially RPGs that don't have that ability for you to tackle objectives in different ways, just don't feel as good.
No, they don't. I would like to respond to Tim, and he says, to be fair, Bethesda, Cyberpunk 2077 has over 30 years of lore to draw from, which it does. I give it that. It does have lore to draw from. So with Starfield, they worked on the game for like 15 years, and they made a space game that they had free. It's a new IP for fully creative, however they want to make it. And they didn't put any aliens in the game. There's only one race in the game, and that's the human race. Now you can sit there and say thematically that, yeah, that's what they were going for. It's about the humans' exploration into the new world, but that doesn't make sense with the main story of being able to go through multiverses. So you're going through multiverses for the same storyline over and over again with just the humans traveling to go through the multiverse. That to me, right there is where you can look at design. Yes, Cyberpunk can pull from its lore, but when you can create your own lore and you just opt to go the easiest vanilla way out, that's where the disconnect with me with that game is.
They do have 15,000 years of human lore.
Yeah, that is true.
That is true. That is true. And also, then my question is like this IP was 25 years in the making, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what their claim is?
Yeah.
So I mean, like they said this is a game that's always been on the burner. It's always been on the board. It's just one that they haven't gotten to, and it wasn't until I love how Todd's sweet little lies. Todd's sweet little lies. There's a quote
Sweet
from Todd
lies.
where he said it wasn't until they were purchased by Xbox that they felt like they had the freedom to be able to create this game. And they were already working on it before then. Like they were already actively developing before then.
But
what?
They didn't have the freedom.
They didn't have the freedom. We just didn't have the freedom to do it. We just didn't have the freedom for that. All those millions and millions and actually probably potentially billions of dollars that they've made through the Elder Scrolls franchise, and Fallout, that wasn't enough, man. Sorry, it was not enough.
Yeah, sorry guys, you made one of the
we needed more millions.
best games of all time. No, don't make any other games.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like Starfield's one of those games that I think is just going to be like a slow burn. It's going to grow and it'll get bigger and people will be drawn to it through mods and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I am actually really surprised to see that there is a pretty definitive line drawn through the gaming community where there are a lot of people that are like, it's great, you just don't understand it. And then you have other people that are just like, no, it's just not as great. Like it's a good, like I think I said it before, it's a good game, but I'm in the mood for great games. So right now I'm playing great games.
And to be fair, if you want to go vanilla Cyberpunk 2077 to where Starfield is in its vanilla stage, Starfield is a less buggy, more probably a let's say larger scope game than Cyberpunk did at its launch.
Yeah.
It is a highly more playable game.
Oh, by a long shot. I mean, its actual launch is obviously more successful than Cyberpunk's. Yeah. I wouldn't talk against that. No.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I tell you what, I've been really upset if I had to spend $100 on Cyberpunk, and not 60 when I bought it.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that video I made about Capcom CEO?
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready. I pulled some stats, and yes, I watched your video, and just to back you up.
I do love stats.
I pulled up some stats that pissed me off. Go ahead and preface what your video was about and your points.
Oh, okay. So earlier this week, I dropped a video that sadly enough didn't really do very well. But it is what it is. When I don't make videos about Baldur's Gate 3, they just don't do well because the majority of subscribers for this channel are here for Baldur's Gate 3, right? Is what it is. This is how it works. So let's see here. So I made a video about how Capcom CEO came out and said that he doesn't believe that if there's any type of like market depression, right? If we're not, he doesn't believe a recession will affect whether or not people will buy video games. Quality video games, by the way. AAA specifically is what he's remarking towards. And then after that, he says that, due to the difficulties and the expenses of making AAA games actually should be $100. Even $70 is too cheap. And yeah, that was pretty much the premise of the video. And that was just me arguing against it because it's like, like that. The funny thing is that he's actually right in the sense where he says, gamers will continue to buy games regardless of like what other like economic strife there is, and will also pay higher dollar. But the problem is that games haven't been worth that kind of money for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the idea,
I think you make the good point of where you explained that Starfield on one hand is $70 to $100 depending on how you paid for it, and then right now you could buy the Gollum game for $70. Right?
Yeah, right now you can go on Steam, you can go into your local GameStop, you can go buy Gollum for $70. The collector's edition.
The biggest problem that I have with this guy coming out and saying this is they don't want the gaming industry to become the car industry or the housing industry to where you are valuing what you get by your dollar amount. Okay, so a Lamborghini is going to cost more than a Chevy Camaro, right? They don't want to get into that ballpark of the game, even though they're both AAA manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to get in that ball game. But what he's trying to allude to is, hey, I'm going to say this so that everybody else in the industry decides to, like, no one wants to be the person who raises prices. They want everybody to do it.
Well, remember, this is exactly what happened to us. Was it last year or year before last year when games rose to $70, and it was Activision?
It was Sony.
It was Sony, and then Activision was the first one to pull the trigger.
Yep.
So Sony brought it up first, saying that games should be raised in price, and then Activision was the first one to come out with Modern Warfare at $70.
No, Sony was the first one to go 70.
Oh, okay, and then Activision followed.
Yeah, everybody just jumped.
And then everybody just jumped in with it.
Everybody else, yeah.
So this is the same kind of situation. As much as people would like to just kind of brush it off, this is how this kind of thing happens. One guy brings it up, and then somebody else goes, "Hey, yeah, that sounds like a great idea."
Sounds great. Yeah. So let's get down to the numbers, the nitty gritty of what this guy's talking about. I have Capcom's financials for the last quarter, which yesterday or today is the beginning of the fourth quarter for all companies. Okay.
Okay.
Year to date, revenue $43.86 billion. Okay.
Yeah, they've been like I brought that up in the video too. They've absolutely been crushing it. And the thing is that like, you know, I'll talk shit about their takes, but their games have been really good.
Yeah, their games have been good. So that increase in revenue is up 73%. Okay.
2K was the first publisher to make $70 games, then Sony.
Yeah, then Sony.
Fucking 2K did it first.
Yeah, I forget.
They don't even have games worth fucking $30.
Basketball, baby.
A game with more microtransactions. A game with more microtransactions than literally any game out there. Yep. It literally has a gambling wheel.
So
it literally has a slot machine.
Their net income was $18.16 billion, which is a 101% increase. Their net profit is up 16%. Their operating income is up 99%, and their net change in cash is up 150%. But they're not making money. So it's ridiculous. It's absurd. To go, hey, we're not making enough money, and I understand what they bring in. Oh well, devs need to start making more money. Okay, we'll pay them more, and you take part of a cut instead of trying to get it out of the consumer. That makes no sense.
Yeah, because they're already taking enough from the consumer to begin with. I mean, you like I brought it up. I brought up other stats in the video, right? Like over 30% of the total revenue made, or total gross profit made from the gaming industry is coming from microtransactions alone.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then, well, dude, that's a lot of extra profit that you're making on top of the actual box price of the game. And we already know how much these companies make off of this stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't try to push it nearly as hard. Battle passes, transmogs, power ups, pay to win mechanics, whatever you want. Look at games like. Dude, look at this. Look at game, and this is really what the future of this is. If we're saying that that's okay, right, and we just keep moving along and continue paying for things like that, then eventually we just get into the position in which you have games like EA and their sports games, or 2K and their sports games, where they're literally just pumping out games, making so much money off of the microtransactions through their Ultimate Team modes that they don't even need to improve the game because you suckers are going to continue to buy it anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're profiting more than they ever needed to, so they don't need to put anything into reinvesting into making games better. Fuck that.
Like, so do you think $100 price tag is going to change? Is it going to make them take out microtransactions? Is it going to make them take out season? No, it's not.
No. If anything, it would actually increase the how much they would spend, or how much they would price microtransactions, because you saying that you would pay $100 for a game means you have more money than you were letting on originally. I mean, okay, $5 microtransactions in a $60 game. Look here, penny pincher.
Here's the second bullet point that I pulled up. So in October, Epic Store is going to raise the price of its VC, which is their money that you buy to buy stuff in Fortnite and whatnot, right? They're going to change the price. They're increasing the price on that due to inflation. Where this guy says that inflation doesn't reflect people are going to buy games regardless, okay? But what I want to get to is, how do you get inflation on digital money that doesn't exist? It's not even real. But now there's inflation on it? Are you fucking kidding me right now? There's inflation on digital currency. That's insane. Insane. Like, I don't get it.
Did you really say that?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, they are raising it due to inflation.
You're raising the price of fake money so that you can make more real money. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Plus, on top of that, it's not like we don't realize that for most of these games, and obviously Fortnite's a different case because it's a free live service game, so therefore any content that is generated for it is something that's being made now, right? So they are spending man hours to make that content, regardless of how cheaply that stuff can be made, because it's just like skins or something like that. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, dude, that is crazy. I can't believe. Hey guys, economy's really bad. That Dragon Ball Z skin is gonna have to cost another $15. The Dragon Ball Z skin is gonna cost you about $20 now. It might be 30 next year if the economy still keeps going the direction it is. It's just real hard for us to be able to get that together. You know what I mean?
I mean, granted, they
fucking
are
wild.
The thing is, they're laying off like 900 people. Epic is, and stated that they are spending more money than they're making.
Which is fucking bullshit. Which is just absolutely No.
It might be them paying for exclusivity on other games to come to their store.
Okay, so so in that case, yes, they could be spending more than they're making, which means stop spending so much for exclusivity.
Yeah,
and actually make games.
But
they don't make games anymore.
It's not that they're spending more than they're making. They're spending more than they want to make. So that like they want to make this much and they're spending this much, and they only want to spend this much. So they're still making a profit.
Oh, of course they are. Of course they are. Oh man. It's dark times when it comes to a lot of this stuff because
I'm off my high horse. I'm good. I watched your video and then it gave me so much like blood pressure increase that I went and started pulling numbers. I was just like, this I have an entire video script that's already ready and raring to go that is literally just talking about microtransactions. It's not microtransactions. Not microtransactions. I have a video that is just talking about digital currencies in video games. That's all it is. Because there's so many fucked up things that are happening because of digital currency crossovers that a lot of people just don't talk about it or outright completely ignore it. Just as an example, like when we're talking about like obfuscating currency, think about how much money these companies capture because they actually force us to pay more for the things that we want. So as an example, I go to McDonald's and I want to buy a Coke, and the Coke is $2, even though it's probably more expensive than that. Just using this as an example. But McDonald's says, hey, no, if you want to buy that, you have to use McBucks. So we need to take your money. So the Coke is actually, the Coke is actually 3 McBucks. Okay. Now you can give us $5, and $5 will actually give you 4 McBucks. And you're like, okay. So then you give them the $5, they give you the 4 McBucks, but now you have 1 McBuck. But if you spend $4 more, they'll give you 6 McBucks.
Right. But this is the thing that I'm talking about, though, right? So then I go ahead and I buy my drink, right? And I get drinks. We're saying the drink's 3 McBucks, right? So now I'm left with 1 McBuck. And what the fuck are you going to do with 1 McBuck? It's not worth anything. You can't buy anything with that. The only choice that you have is to buy more McBucks and get more McFucked. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, what ends up happening is that you actually will just leave that money there with them and then walk away. And now you didn't actually spend $3 for the drink. You spent $5 for a $3 drink. And they just get to hold the money because it's just how that transfer works, because the $2 digital currency leftover can't be spent on anything. And the only way that you can spend it is by buying more currency to use that for another purchase later. There is so much money that is captured by all of these developers making all of these games that is completely fake. It's literal theft. It is like, and the fact that there is nobody's looking at this and thinking to themselves, that's kind of messed up. It just and honestly, what it is it's just like lawmakers just don't get it.
Yeah,
they just don't understand it.
They got McLobbyist. That's fine.
McLobbyist. Yeah, they got McLobbyist. But like it's one of those things where you're sitting there and you're going like, wait a minute, like actually this is like really, really messed up. Like how it really is, and there's no way for you to get around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why the reason why this whole idea came to me, or the discussion came to me, was because I saw that Dying Light 2 is switching now to having an in-game store where you have to buy a digital currency to be able to buy their products. And you're not going to be able to buy their DLC from Steam or from anywhere else. And I'm like,
the store.
But then at the same time, and then they're like, oh, well, the digital currency makes it easier on us. And I'm like, easier on you to do fucking what? You still have to how stupid do you think we are? Like, you still it makes it easier on us, it just makes it easier, the transactions for us to be able to make things happen, transferring different currencies and whatnot like that. And it's like, you still have to take the money from point of sale in the game to begin with. It's no different.
But they don't no, they still have to pay. They still have to pay the maybe I know what it is. Okay, so let's say they put out a new DLC and they have to pay the it's a $30 DLC. Okay, they're gonna have to pay whatever it is. I think it's 4 or 5% or whatever it is to the platform holder, right? Whatever their deal is. Now you do it in game through the store, through that currency is now a microtransaction, and it cuts down that percentage. So now they make more money off that DLC. Yep.
Wait, hold on.
You feeling me?
No, repeat that again.
Okay, so now they put a DLC on a store for a platform, say Microsoft, Sony, Steam. They have to pay the 4% or whatever it is, the store fee that charges them to sell their product on the store. Now they're selling it in game, and now because it's on that platform, they're paying the microtransaction fee and not the 4%. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, I could be tinfoiling it up.
Yeah. So the only way that I would see that working is if they treated the DLC for the game as something that was already in the game, and all you're doing is just buying the currency unlocking what's in the game.
Yeah.
Now that would work in different situations, right? So I would say like skins is a really good example of that, because like if you notice in a game like Fortnite, you don't have to download the skin after you buy it.
No,
it's already in the game. Yeah. Now, if we're talking about like DLC added areas, so like let's take for instance a game like Destiny where you can get dungeons, right? Mm-hmm. You actually do have to download that stuff. They don't preload those assets. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Well, even like for like they could do a placeholder, like a 5 megabyte placeholder though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guarantee you're probably with at least somewhat of the right train of thought. It probably does save them money with like certain transactions, but at the same time, if that's the case, then okay, regardless, why isn't the in-game currency $5 for 500, 100 or $10 for 1,000, $20 for this? Right? Yeah. But even still, even if it was that, the things that are going to be like, even if they did give you basically dollar for dollar value with the digital currency, what they still end up doing is they still end up just charging like, oh yeah, so you can buy this thing for, you can buy, what is it, like 2,000 crystals for $20, but the item that you want to buy or the DLC that you want to buy is 2025 or it's or 2,100 or 1,600, and then you got 400 left over. And then there's nothing you can actually buy with 400.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't fix that issue.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't fix that issue.
Which they're not trying to.
So. No, they don't want to. Why would they? Yeah. Because it's literally it gives them the ability to charge more than whatever they have priced an item for. It's literally just giving them free money.
It is.
And they don't have to give you anything in return because they already gave. And this is the fucked up thing, right? This is actually one of the points that I make in the video. The fucked up thing is that you are actually not buying any of the things in that store. You're unlocking them. What you are buying is a currency.
Yep, it's currency.
No, not currency. No, or not access. You are buying the currency. When that transaction is made, what have you purchased? Nothing. The only thing you have purchased is 30,000 crystals. To do whatever to unlock certain things in the game. You're not making active purchases on the DLC or on the items or anything. And then that makes me wonder, what really makes me wonder is this. What are I wonder, like, what is your ability to actually be able to make like quality claims on the items that you make in the game? or the items that you unlock. Say the skin doesn't work right. Say the weapon that you unlock doesn't work correctly. Whatever it is, right? Like you didn't purchase that, so you can't get it returned, right? Because you didn't get money. They can return the points, and even still, at the end of the day, you can't even get the currency back. There is no system. There's no system available for you to get the $4 that's sitting on the account as 400 coins. There's no way to get that back. Because you've already spent it, right? You bought a 20,000 coin pack. There's 4,000 coins left. But if you already spent the 16,000 coins, you can't get the 4,000 coins back. Yeah. It's sitting on the account. You can't return that back. And actually, most of these games in their end user license agreement?
Yeah.
In most of their end user license agreements, it's stated that you cannot get returns on digital currency. And you sign that just to play the game.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, in small text, down an entire wall of text just says, I agree.
Gave them their email so they can start fishing that shit out to people.
Yeah.
All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah. 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 I think one of the things that they should do is they should, instead of having end user license agreements where they just hide a bunch of this bullshit and it's down at the very bottom and they know that you just want to play the game and you're just going to scroll through, that stuff needs to be at point of sale. Like, it needs to pop up, hey, before you buy digital currency in a game to play it, something, because obviously getting rid of digital currency probably is never going to happen. But I think virtual currencies, if we had the ability to, and I'd like to hear chat's opinion on this, if we had the ability to, actually, it would pop up a message saying, oh, hey, you're about to buy 2,000 coins. Just to let you know, you cannot return these coins or have them partially returned. Or something like that. Just to make sure people are a little bit more aware. I think there needs to be even more stop gaps or stop signs before we make purchases or purchasing microtransactions in a game, whether that's currencies or whether that's something else. I think regardless, there needs to be more things to stop us or impede us from making that purchase, just to give us a few more seconds to think about it. It's really surprising. I'm trying to think.
No, it makes sense because you can buy a game. You can buy a game and then not agree with its term of service, and then you just
can't play the game.
Steam, you can return it.
Yeah.
Right, but nowhere else you can.
Yeah, but there's so much bloat in the end user license agreement and the terms of service that you're never going to read it, because there's so much shit in there that it really just doesn't matter and it doesn't apply to you at all. I feel like a lot of that stuff just needs to be like, it needs to be more palatable for the user.
Like bullet pointed.
Yeah, but the problem is that like the legal systems at large, and this is a worldwide problem, not a American problem, this is worldwide, is that the legal systems at large allow these developers, legal teams, to hit us with a massive wall of text that is not palatable for anybody, especially a gamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as such, it makes it a little bit difficult for us to be able to kind of discern what actually matters in those end user license agreements and what doesn't.
Well, hopefully this what they're doing with microtransactions overseas carries over to here, and maybe some of this stuff gets brought up. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you can really hope for.
Yeah, and the idea is like the more often these countries push back, even if it's just a few of them, it just makes it more difficult for game companies to release their games over a large swath of countries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh well, we won't be able to release our game in
Poland,
in these countries in Europe. And it's like, well, fuck, okay. At one point, they literally just turn around and go, it's actually wasting. We're actually losing money by trying to do these other things. We just need to take them out of the game, and then we can sell the game, worldwide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies censor the shit out of their video games so they can sell them in China.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I don't think microtransactions or any of that stuff's ever going to go away. Like we're past that point of them. Just in general, we're just past the point. And I think, to your point, it should just be a little, like, the health on it needs to be a lot more well thought out than just the small intricacies of the in-game monies and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think it's going away. It just needs to be regulated better, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a topic on which I am quite passionate about.
Quite passionate. He's a passionate man.
Passionate man. What else do we have to talk about? You have anything else to put us up to bat for? I have to feed the cat because he's being bothersome. So I'm giving you full control. Okay. Don't scare everybody off.
All right, guys. No, I'm just kidding. So anybody who is excited about Knights of the Old Republic remake being made, should kind of be a little squeamish. They pulled down the trailer for it, which Embracer isn't saying anything about it, which Embracer's over the deal. Embracer's not saying any the game's canceled or not. They won't even Embracer and Saber. That's who's doing it. Sony talked about it, says that it's not. They were just pulling it down for music rights. Which I don't know, doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the music rights. I would think once you've paid for the I don't know. I guess it does run out. But yeah, so Knights of the Old Republic right now is shelved. I'm a big fan of those games. So I was kind of really hoping for it. I was kind of bummed out that it was an exclusive, but now that I've got a PlayStation to play it on, kind of excited, but yeah, it got kind of pushed off. Also, people who are looking forward to Fable, it didn't have a very good trailer when it came to its last showing. If you saw the memes of the ugly characters, looked pretty bad. But they have hired Ryan Clark, which was the animation producer on Baldur's Gate 3, to come in and help with the game. So that actually looks like it might be a little. I'm not saying he can come in and fix everything, but it looks like they're getting some talent from a talented studio to come in and help them shore up the Fable franchise. Also, another big deal. I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. Any CS:GO players out there? Any?
This is an RPG channel. What the fuck are you doing?
No, this is a big deal. This is kind of a big deal.
I walk away for 2 minutes, and you're talking about CS:GO.
Yeah, that Fable trailer was a big oof, but no, CS:GO pulled an Overwatch. They launched CS:GO 2, and you can't play CS:GO. Like it's gone.
Oh, they did the whole Rooney.
Yep. The net coding for CS:GO 2 is not as good as CS:GO 1. Meaning, net coding meaning like you go to shoot somebody and they get around the wall and they're still being shot. that type of stuff. The net coding part of it isn't.
Yeah, like desyncing and shit like that.
And CS:GO is known for its precision, right? So it's kind of a big deal. A lot of unhappy CS:GO players out there.
Yeah, well, you know what? You fuck around and you find out.
You fucked around and you found out.
Yeah. So I actually don't really have any opinion on that stuff because I don't know anything about it yet.
Yeah, it makes my son's got 5,000 hours in CS, and he is no longer a CS player because of it.
Really?
Because how the performance of CS:GO 2 is. Yeah.
We'll see how that I'm no longer a player.
No, he is
in about a month.
He's a full-time WoW player now. I know, right? I raised him right.
You raised him right. Wow. Classic WoW? Hardcore WoW?
No, the newest of the new.
Retail?
WoW.
Good.
Retail, wow.
Lord. CS:GO playing retail WoW.
Retail WoW.
My Lord.
Goodness. Yeah.
My goodness. So let's see here. Was there any actual strong topics for us to talk about outside of that? They released more gameplay on Dragon's Dogma.
Nice.
Dragon's Dogma 2. There's actually some things now that I am a player.
Oh.
Now I am a
Easy,
Dragon's.
guys.
Now that I am a Dragon's Dogma enjoyer, I will say that I'm actually kind of interested how this is really going to play out for the full release of the game. Specifically with like getting rid of like the second weapon stuff that they had.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use an example for this. So like, say for instance, when you go play the OG, right? If you play the OG, like you have certain classes that actually had like 2 separate skill abilities. So technically you could have like 6 skills equipped at one time, but you're not gonna have that anymore. You're just gonna have your I think it's gonna be your left or right wheel that you're gonna be able to pull up that'll have skills attached to it. There's other like other functionality that's also added. But yeah, it's a little odd because so I played the Strider when I first started playing, and Strider allows you to be able to use my left bumper to pull out my bow and start doing like my different bow skills. And then I could hold the right trigger down, and that would actually bring out my daggers, and then I would use my dagger skills. So I feel like it's probably going to be fine. I think players are going to feel like, I think OG Dragon's Dogma players might feel like there's like less customization or less player freedom than they had before, but that all depends on like how deep the rest of the mechanics in the game get. You know what I mean?
Well, Dragon's Dogma is more of like a cult classic game, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't sell well, but it's not like it was, Elden Ring or something. You know what I mean? So like, I think the newer, as big as gaming's gotten, a newer crowd, probably this might help keep them in there. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like
more
newer,
simplified controls. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. So that I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything that actually kept the game back from being successful when it first released anyway. I mean, from what I understand, at least from what I've learned from the Dragon's Dogma community that I've been like enjoying so far, that have come to watch some of the streams and talk to me and stuff like that. Like really, it was just one of those, people just didn't buy it for some reason. Its box art wasn't all that exciting. They didn't really market it very heavily. So the game just didn't really find an audience. It did over time, and the people that did play it when it first came out and then continued to play it later put thousands of hours into playing the game, or hundreds of hours into playing the game. I feel like its bigger blossom happened when the game came released with Dark Arisen, which is the expansion that they put into the game, and they just packaged it all as one, and they released it all together on PC, I think in 2016. I've had a ton of people correct me in the comment section on my streams where they're like, the game came out in 2012, and I'm like, and I remember the conversations I was having in my streams where I was like, man, this game is really actually graphically impressive. Like the original one is really graphically impressive for being, 9 years old, I think is what I kept saying, or something like that. And then they're like, no, the game came out in 2012. I'm like, so it's 11 years old. I'm like, that just makes all of the good things that I said
better,
like more good.
Yeah, more gooder.
More gooder. You know what I mean? It was like, there's some people that are like taking it really personally. And I'm like, guys, you need to chill, all right? Like,
yeah, you know what? People love what they love. You know what I mean? And they're gonna defend it.
Yeah. I will say, like, the people that are like really big fans of this game are incredibly supportive of wanting to watch other people enjoy it and play it and stuff like that. And I get it. Like, you want to have that that affirmation. You want other people to realize that things that you love are great.
Yeah.
And you want other people to enjoy great things that you also find are great.
I wonder if it was the timing on it. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking like where gaming was at in 2012. You were about to have the new release of the new consoles, 2013. Your big games out at the time were Grand Theft Auto 2012, Grand Theft Auto 5 was about to come out. You had, of course, your Call of Duties are big then too. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if this style of game was like what was on the tips of everybody's want. You know what I mean?
Dark Souls was popping. Demon Souls popped.
But Demon Souls was also an exclusive. I mean, what do you think Demon Souls sold initially? 4 million.
Oh,
copies?
Demon Souls, the original one, only did like a little over 1 million copies.
Yeah, so
it only did a little over 1 million copies. Dark Souls 1 did relatively well.
Like I said, I just don't know if like people just haven't jumped into this, genre of game yet. You know what I mean, or style of game.
Yeah. So specifically talking about the things that I've seen come out of Tokyo Game Show, and then also there was another feature that they did somewhere else where I'll try to bring it up here in a minute, where it actually just shows I think it's just a fighter perspective, if I'm not mistaken. But dude, like the game physics are so damn good, and the verticality. I don't want to say verticality. The use of terrain in this game is something that I really haven't seen in another game ever.
What, just squeezing on chickens' legs to fly everywhere?
No.
Oh.
No. What I'm talking about, like use of terrain, I mean, like if there's a wall next to a monster, I can bounce that monster off of that wall.
Okay.
If there's a rock that's on the ground and I knock the monster over, like their head will hit that rock if it's in the right position to hit that rock, and it'll do extra damage as a result of that. If a monster is over a crevasse, over like a gap, right, and I knock them over, I can actually cross that bridge, like use them as a bridge to cross.
That's cool.
Like there's a very physical nature to your environment that you can actually interact with and use in a tactical way. And I think that's really interesting. Something else that I found out when I was doing a little bit of research about this game is that height actually matters as well. So similar to like we've seen with Baldur's Gate, where, you can throw a box, or you can do a melee move like a nosedive as the owlbear off of a high place. And depending on how high you are will increase the amount of damage you do. The same thing can be said for this game as well. If I jump off of a cliff and then I come down with a downward strike onto a monster's head, I'm going to do significantly more amount of damage because of the height that I jump from.
That's kind of cool.
That's something that I'm gonna check really cool.
Like I said, I really want to check this game out, but I really want to get through Cyberpunk first. So this will be my next game that I go to.
Oh, DD1. Yeah, because there's no date on DD2 yet.
No. This is.
However, the one thing that I will say is that when we talk about Japanese studios specifically, when they start showing off gameplay and getting into their like PR push, they're pretty close. It's usually like 6 months before release.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
It's usually about 6 months before release.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it with Square Enix, they're the same way. Capcom's relatively the same way. A lot of the Japanese studios are like that, where they're like, yeah, you know what? Here's the game. It's out next month. It's out tomorrow. I don't know. We think it's ready. But yeah, things look really good. And in general, there's a lot of folks that I've seen that are like big Dragon's Dogma fans, and they specifically have said that it looks like the game is just Dragon's Dogma 1 just perfected.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like,
so how Monster Hunter-y is this game? Because I'm not a big Monster Hunter fan. Like, is it like a lot Monster Hunter?
No. Yes and no. I would probably say it's actually closer to, I would say it's closer to Dark Souls than it is Monster Hunter, but it's more Monster Hunter in how you play the game.
Okay, like crafting wise and stuff, or
oh man, this is really hard to explain,
because that's how it's been explained to me, that it's like Dark Souls Monster Hunter.
Yes, it is. That is so like controls wise feels like Dark Souls.
Okay.
Everything is a threat, feels like Dark Souls.
Okay. Big
monsters with like you have to figure out like what their weaknesses are, like what like elemental weaknesses, what body parts of theirs you should attack to like make certain things happen. Different interactions with the environment, different interactions with different monsters, because sometimes monsters will actually fight each other in certain situations. Those things, very Monster Hunter. You can break parts of monsters off and then use those parts to craft things. Very Monster Hunter.
Okay. As long as the gameplay is not Monster Hunter, I think I'll be okay. Like, I think that's my biggest.
What do you not like about Monster Hunter?
It just feels like it feels slow and mushy. I don't know why it just does. And it might be just who I pick, like the type of weapon that I choose. I don't know. I just don't like it.
What Monster Hunter games have you played?
Monster Hunter World, that one.
Yeah.
And so that kind of just turned me off to all of them. No,
Yeah?
I did. Nope, I played the newest one too. What was the newest one?
You got the demo of Rise.
No. I have the full version of the game.
You bought Rise.
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah, it was on sale, and I don't like it. Yeah, you can stare and stick your lip out all you want to. It's fine. I'm just saying, not all games are for everybody. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I just don't like playing it. Doesn't feel good to play.
I don't know how I feel about you.
Well,
I just want to let you know, the minute that you said that, 8 people left the stream.
Okay, well, I didn't know that they were.
That's what your shit taste does to the stream.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you would just get good and understand. So
see, Dark Hollow, he's with me. He's with me on there. Rise
Dark Hollow. I liked World. I didn't jive with Rise Sunbreak. Waiting for World 2. I think I feel like that's more for the art style for a lot of people. They didn't really like the there's parts of Rise that I really don't like, and there's parts of Rise that I really do like. I love Wirebug, like being able to like basically grapple onto nothing in midair. Like, you throw up a grapple and you can like kind of Spider-Man your way up and on top of a monster, then like grapple them or mount them and start beating the crap out of them. But yeah, I don't know. I have a weird relationship with Monster Hunter games in general, where I actually do really like them because I love the idea of a game where I'm just fighting bosses.
Yeah,
it's like, go find the boss, go kill the boss, go, take resources off of the boss, and then go out and, make really cool equipment with it. I really enjoy that loop. There's something about that's really enjoyable. It's also really fun to play with people. And that's the other thing. Like, I do not play Monster Hunter alone. Specifically, like, I like playing it with Cody, because Cody will go find the monster for me.
Yeah, he will.
And then I go beat up on the monster. Yeah. So like, I think it's playing it with people. I think that changes your perspective on it and stuff like that. I liked World. I actually played Monster Hunter World a lot. I played it a lot more than I played Rise. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't grab. I don't know what about it. It just doesn't grab me. And I think I've never played with y'all either. I just play by myself.
That's true too. True too. Cool. You always have you do that. You do that pretty frequently. Like, a game comes out and like we're all gonna play it together, and then you kind of take off ahead of us.
Oh, really? Let's start pointing fingers here. Let's just do that.
I just want to make sure that it's a you problem and not a me problem.
It is not a you problem. So
I just want to throw that out there. So yeah, its gameplay loop is not Monster Hunter. Its gameplay loop is very much open world RPG.
Okay. All right.
Like, you are just getting. I'll give you a basic overview of of Dragon's Dogma 1. So in Dragon's Dogma 1, you're attacked by a dragon.
Spoilers, bro.
Dragon takes your heart. And then now you have to kill the dragon.
Is it like Dragonheart? Is it like voiced by Sean Connery?
It is, actually.
Nice.
So that's your whole quest. And then you go and like help the kingdom. You take on side quests, go kill some goblins and stuff like that. It feels very rooted. Like much more grounded than most other RPGs do. Where it still is this like high fantasy RPG where there's griffins and dragons and goblins and stuff like that, but it feels much more rooted in realism. Like, everything feels very weighted, and it's a tough world to survive and hack it in. And you can just go in whatever direction you want. Like, you could quite literally just like walk off into the middle of nowhere, and oh shit, they don't have level scaling, by the way. I don't know if they will in this next game. I don't know if that, but I know in DD1 there is no level scaling, so you could just walk up in like an end game zone, and there's just like this super high level griffin that just one shots you. So there is that. There is that. And there's a good mix too. There's a good mix of enemies. There's all kinds of different ones that you can fight. There's like humans and chimera and all kinds of different stuff. So the variety is really good. But yeah, it's not like because Monster Hunter games are very much like, all right, it's time for you to go to hunt the monster, and you're like, okay, and then you open a level, right? Because it's not an open world game. You open a level, you go to the level. That level's big. It's big. You travel around, you find the monster, you hunt it down, and then you kill it. None of that exists in this game.
Okay.
What exists in this game is it's like, hey, we need you to escort this, I don't know, this carriage, these merchants. And you're like, oh, okay. And you go to escort them, then all of a sudden you guys end up getting attacked by something. Or it's just you being like, man, I really want to level up my skills. I'm just going to run around and just like gather equipment and just look for stuff. And you find like a hidden cave, and then you go into that cave, and then you end up finding a quest where a guy's like, hey, I was adventuring.
Some random guy in a cave. He's like, hey.
Yeah, he's like, no, I ran into something like that before, where there was like a guy by a waterfall, and he was like, my friend went into the waterfall because he heard that there was a temple inside, but he hasn't come back in hours. Can you look for him? And you go in, and like, sure enough, like it's like this behind the water temple, and you're adventuring through, finding items, fighting skeletons and undead, and then bats, and then fishmen, and then there's a boss, and you're like, whoa. And yeah, it's more like a dungeon crawler.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It really is like a hard to explain game. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Do you like Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that
it got an anime?
Yeah, and it's from the dude that just does the Castlevania. Is the director?
Yeah, showrunner for Castlevania. Yeah, I think that's actually gonna be really good.
Pretty good. It looks pretty good.
The
Tomb Raider one, not so much.
It's so I think it's also the art team behind. I think it's the art team that did Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. I have to look again.
I think you're wrong.
We don't talk about the DD anime. No shit. Yeah, I know. They did make a Dragon's Dogma anime on Netflix. It's very bad.
I've watched it.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
It's very bad. It's Dota 2. What's Dota 2? Studio Mirror?
Yeah.
I'm confused. I think it is Studio Mirror, but I can't remember what anime they made.
Okay.
So yeah. Well, do you have anything else on the docket today?
No, I kind of talked about everything that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, time kind of flew by, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Not really surprised.
We didn't even talk about any Baldur's Gate anything today.
No, we really didn't.
No. Baldur's Gate is a really great game.
Yeah, it is. Go play it.
And I'm playing more playthroughs, and I have we have a co-op playthrough. Mark and I have to continue.
I did send you a it's a list from Larian Studios of the most played character builds. And,
Paladin, number 1.
It's the mixed builds.
Lock it in. Paladin, Warlock, Fighter. I'm just guessing.
Sorkadin.
Okay.
Sorkadin.
Okay.
Sublime. But that's neither here nor there. Like it was interesting. Apparently one of the most beloved 5th edition D&D actual D&D characters is like second to last.
Second to last.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah. It was interesting. It was an interesting read. But that's it. That
So there's like so there's certain classes that like people don't play in D&D but play really well in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
they like it in D&D, but in Baldur's Gate they don't play it.
Interesting. So I know Lockett-in for sure is one that's popular in D&D and also popular in Baldur's Gate for obvious reasons. I think they did a really good job with Pact of the Blade.
Yeah.
But it also makes it like I felt stupid trying to make a just a pure paladin because like the level 12 like paladin is like not really worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing too. Yeah, monk in 5e is absolutely garbage apparently, but it's not apparently, it is 100% broken in fucking Baldur's Gate. It is so strong. It is so strong. Especially once you're past level 6 and most of your hits are actually hitting now, and you go up and it's like I think at this point I can already get like in our co-op playthrough I can get like three attacks. Yeah, I have Monk Thief. That's what I'm playing right now in our current one. And so that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. We do need to play that at one point.
Yeah, are you planning on streaming Friday? I know you work and it's late and all that kind of good stuff, but
I mean we can. What do you want to do? Do you want to do co-op on Friday?
Yeah.
We can do that.
We need to get back at it.
Ranger's best. Yeah, actually
Ranger Rogue is the top. It is.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. So I did a Paladin playthrough, and beat the game, and I used Astarion for the first time, and Vampire Lord Astarion, by the way, and he's already machine gun road ranger. You add that. So like part of if you really like push his vampire storyline or whatever, he can get a bonus, and that bonus is like another like 1d6, I think, or it might be higher than that of necrotic damage per hit with any weapon.
Have you gotten the option for him to make you one of his spawn?
Yeah.
So there's also a new list out of all the basically like the biggest, heaviest gut punches you can do to ruin the relationships with people.
Did you kick him in the nuts? I watched them. Nuts? No, you can. You can. There's a scene that I got with Astarion where he was like trying to hook up with me, and the option that was given to me was kick him in the nuts. And I did it. And he left. And he left the party. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
You know what? To be honest, I would have done the same thing. You kicked me in the balls. I'm just going home.
His voice went up by like 7 decibels. He was like, "Hi, yeah." I can't even recreate it. I can't even recreate it.
Shit.
This game has so many odd options that like. The funny thing is, it's never just like narrative turns and twists that catch you by surprise. It's the dialogue options that the game allows you to like impact the world with, that you're like, I can do this.
I'm gonna do
that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. It's so funny. It's so funny. I've had so much fun with that game, dude. It really has quickly become probably my. I would say like it's my sweatpants right now. You know what I mean? No, I'm like I always try to rank games on like, you know, I always keep a top 5 in the head. You know what I mean? Because like people are always gonna be like, "What's your top 5 games?" And I want to say Baldur's Gate has my number 2.
Yeah. It is. Oof, that's tough. I'm actually going to throw it at number 1. To be honest with you, I like it that much. I'm not simping. I'm just. I can't name. It's so weird because mine isn't based on nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like I could be like, oh, you know. Ocarina of Time, you know.
Oh no! My number one is not a nostalgia.
No, I'm just saying mine isn't. I'm not saying yours is. So calm down. You're a little bit defensive here, okay? Okay, calm down. But like as of like right now, like because I'm interested in Cyberpunk, I'm still in my back of my head. I'm like, man, I really want to go back to Baldur's Gate. And I'm not because Cyberpunk's keeping my interest, but. Yeah, right now it's like I said, it's my sweatpants. It's what I want to get home and slide into. Sweatpants, not DMs, buddy. Sweatpants. Sweatpants.
My all-time is Terraria. I just don't think there's anything that's ever gonna like hit all my spots like that one does. Obviously, there's no like narrative to it, so it makes it a little bit different in that regard. But like, there's just nothing that like there's a place in my brain that just holds Terraria, and I'll never be able to get it out. Because like you're talking about like sweatpants, the easy game that you can always slide in, just like regardless if I'm like, I will never ever sit down and go, I have nothing to play, because I can always play Terraria, and forever I will play it. Even lately, I watched like a video from like Chippy Gaming talking about like the new update they have for it, and I was like, it's been like a month or so since I played Terraria. It's probably about time. It's probably about time I go back to Terraria. Yeah. Why not?
Otherwise, got a couple people in the chat putting in their top fives.
Yeah, let's hear the top fives, guys. Let's see what you guys got. If you suck, you're banned.
Publicly ridiculed. So don't get me wrong, I do have some older games in there, but like I think my top 5 are games that I can go back and play, and it wouldn't bother me to play. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like, oh.
When I think of so. If the funny thing is that like Dark Hollow specifically says 2 games that are in my like I need to play soon. I need to play Torment. I've never played that. I've heard that's really good. Like really, really good. CRPG.
Okay.
And then Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous.
That's a CRPG, right? Let's play it.
Yeah. It's not multiplayer from what I understand.
It's not.
I don't know. I don't think Pathfinder is multiplayer. Is it?
I own both of them.
Yeah, there's Kingmaker and then Wrath of the Righteous, but I don't think you have to play Kingmaker to play Wrath of the Righteous. I think you can just play Wrath of the Righteous. Yeah, it's not multiplayer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, I did like. So I started.
That's actually exactly why we have not played it. You know that, right?
Is Wrath of the in the audience, is Wrath of the Righteous the one where you start at that it's like a carnival, and then a dragon pops out, or not a dragon but like a god of some sort? Because I've started one of them, and to be honest with you, their charactering subclasses and shit, yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah, is so in depth, Ian. It is so in depth. It was almost like overwhelming.
I watched Mortismal talk about it, which is like his favorite game of all time. Mm-hmm. He ranks Baldur's Gate as his second.
To that.
Oh wow. And he's and Mortismal's like he snorts CRPGs. Right?
he's shooting it between his toes, man.
Like, dude, I mean, he's 100%ed these games.
Wow.
Like 100%ed, like played multiple classes. He's still playing Baldur's Gate right now so that he can make a real, like a true 100%, discussion that he can have about the game. He's still playing it right now. I don't blame him, but so he put Baldur's Gate 3 as second place. But Wrath of the Righteous is number 1. And I just heard a lot of really good things about it. So I definitely have to
I think I bought them on a Steam sale. I think I got both games for like $15. I think I did.
Steam sale. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how much I paid for it. I bought it too. I can't remember.
It sucks. It's not co-op.
There's somebody that actually brought this up. They're like, "Do you guys normally cut it off after 2 hours exactly?"
That was information.
Yeah, I do try to relatively for the most part because I have shit to do.
Yeah.
I have to go like buy food and stuff like that for next week, and I want you guys to kind of keep this in mind too. Is that like Sunday is going to be my only day off for the next month and a half. So I'll be working 6 days a week. Sunday's my only time off. 2 hours out of that are gonna get cut off, and then I gotta.
City Skylines. So it got delayed on the consoles, but not on PC. Yep.
On the consoles, but not on PC. Which seems about right. Yeah.
I
just don't think console architecture is just in the best place right now.
The recommended GPU for it is a 3080 equivalent. Yeah. Yeah. The min specs are pretty reasonable, but I thought the recommended being a 3080 was a big deal. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that is kind of a big deal.
I don't think that's a mid series card by any means.
No. I don't think that's anything the consoles can really handle. They're gonna have to scale that back pretty hard.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they're even gonna get that to run properly. You're gonna have to do something like, probably mess with like level of detail. There's probably gonna be
level of detail, a lot of how far you can see.
Which that's in sim games, that's not good.
No, that's not
like
good.
Level of detail stuff is not good in sim games. You need to be able to see the whole world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the whole world needs to be running at once.
Yeah. You and me both, Saint. You and me both.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, I don't consider the 3080 to be a slouch, and for it to be like the recommended we're getting to that point. You know what I mean? We're getting to where you can say 30 series is the last generation card. You know what I mean? So, isn't that crazy? It's crazy.
I just got it. I feel like, didn't I?
Yeah. About 6 months ago.
Yeah. So I need to buy a 40 series already.
Yep. You gotta buy a 40 series.
I'm probably not gonna buy another card until the 50s, and then I'll use the 30 card to build a streaming PC or something maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll be a fancy boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like playing strategy games on controller. But obviously it's doable. You know, I did play, Divinity on there on a controller first.
I tried. I couldn't. It's one of those things, like, after I played it on PC and I got used to using like PC controls to play it, I just couldn't. I tried doing couch co-op and it just my brain was just like.
Yeah, it's an inconvenience to play it on controller.
I have heard though that that Baldur's Gate 3 is relatively good on controller. Mostly because you can actually use your controller to move. Not like you can actually use it like an action game, basically, where you can actually move through the environment like normally, rather than having to do the point and click, which I think that's pretty cool. That literally gets rid of like most of the issues for me.
I am going to bring up something about Baldur's Gate, and it's something that pissed me off. It's tweets that I'm seeing where communities of people who are CRPGs are like their first ones to come to. So with Baldur's Gate 3, they're wanting the developers to make a real-time mode. Like
I saw that
combat, and I'm like, it's a CRPG. It's not Diablo. What are you wanting? Like, I mean, I could see if they wanted something like what was that game? Dragon Age 2 was kind of, or Dragon Age 1, where it was a halfy type deal, where you could have some sort of tactician to it.
Dark Hollow, they're not asking for real time with pause. They're asking for action combat. Even though the funny thing is, like, I saw the tweet mentioned, and the tweet mentioned like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 weren't turn based.
Stop. Are you saying they're mouth breathers?
Yeah, basically. Like, so it's one of those things where what this is that, like, use some of the profits to make the game more accessible for people that don't want to.
Yeah,
people want games that aren't meant for them to be meant for them too.
Yeah.
And this is also like one of the biggest problems when it comes to AAA games to begin with, right? Is that a lot of these games fail because they're trying to appeal to too many people, and included in that too many people are people that have no interest in playing your games. That's like a lot of, and I'm not gonna get into like, fucking social politics or anything like that, but this is also the result of that kind of stuff, where you have a lot of people trying to force social politics into gaming, and they have no interest in the product.
Yep.
Well, no, it needs to be this. It needs to be that. Because that's what we say. Yeah, but are you going to play it? Well, no, I'm not interested. I don't play video games.
Dude, you know what the craziest thing is? At the end of that tweet, they're like,
and then
these sell a lot more games.
And then these companies bend over backwards to try to make these people happy when none of these people are going to be helping them to make any money in the first place because they were never actually interested in playing the game. Not all games are made for everyone. Exactly. Not anything is made for everyone except for spandex, I guess.
Did you see Lies of P developers are making a patch to make the game easier?
Yes, and that's not good. That's not what you should do. I would patch it to make it where the minute that you press start, you just die. If you don't press start the right way. There's like a specific way you have to press start, and if you don't press it the right way, then you just die. That's the kind of difficulty I want. I just want to gatekeep so hard. All the time. All the time. I'm dead serious. I just want to gatekeep all the time. That's like make it where you have to do like up, down, left, right, A, B, B, A to even start the game in the first place. Like if you don't know the fucking code, you can't play the game. And then like, don't ever tell them, don't put it on a message board, don't put it in an FAQ or anything like that. If they can't figure it out, $70 down the drain.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds so good.
Fuck your terms of service. You're just gonna have to do.
You won't even be able to see it.
The Konami code is what's gonna start this game.
You won't even be able to see it. Terms of service. It's on the receipt.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I've got a question for you. So I downloaded God of War Ragnarok. Okay, I plan on starting it at some point.
Hold on. Capcom CEO has nothing on you. Kevin, you don't even get it. If I had the opportunity to work in the gaming industry, even though I'm sitting in front of you guys, and I will call them out for all their bullshit, I absolutely would. But as somebody that went to school for business, I would be raking you guys over the coals. Oh my God. I sit back and look at how stupid they are and all the dumb decisions that they make when they're making these games. You know what I would do? I would make the most predatory game in existence. I would try to fight to make one of the best RPG experiences of your entire life. But every time you could make a decision that would drastically influence the story of the game. I'm talking stories building up. It's awesome. You're like, dude, oh my God, this is like the greatest game. This is like Baldur's Gate 5.0. I don't even know. My mind is like exploding with how awesome this game is. Just as Carlock is about to undo her top, it just pops up and says $5.99. And your ass is clicking. You're clicking because you're like, I'm 30 hours in. I've been working on this relationship.
Yeah. Why spend the time doing the quest to make it where her body's not on fire when you can just pay $49.95 right off the bat? Yeah. Oh no, even better. It would say no, continued with censored version, and then $5.99. Oh my God, I'd be so rich. I'd be so rich. People would be like, this guy is the worst, but I can't stop playing this game. Oh man. That's why F2W. That's why I can't ever stream, because I always forget that I got my characters naked, and like every game, even my Cyberpunk person's running around naked, even though it's in first person. I just want everyone to see how naked they are. So.
Yeah. So, what were you saying about what you were playing something else?
Oh yeah, God of War Ragnarok. I just got a question about the PlayStation. Is their download servers, are they just like shit?
Yeah, PlayStation games take a very long time to download.
Man, it took hours to download, and I'm just like, I've got really fast internet, and I'm just like, that is crap.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. There has actually been times where I bought a game for my PC instead because it downloads faster. It's like, I just want to try it out.
That they got hacked too. That's in the news.
Not a financial hack, from what I understand, though.
No, it's just information. But
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think after the Xbox leak, they probably just paid like a hacker group to try to get some info on Sony out there too. Like, we can't be the only ones.
We can't be the only ones.
We can't be the only ones. Oh yeah, and Jim Ryan retiring. How weird is it that like Xbox fans have to turn somebody's retirement, because he's in his 60s.
He's 63 years old. Been with the company for 30 years.
And they're like, they're kicking him out. Like, what? He's a CEO, right? Or what is he? Not CEO. He's a
he's a president of Sony
Interactive. Sony Interactive. Yeah. And they're like, they're kicking him out. And I'm like, he's 63. Like, he probably just wants to go chill on a beach with his family for the next, I don't know, 20 some odd years until he turns into crust.
He got tired of living in the UK and working in the US.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Yeah, I mean, at 63 years, at 44, I don't feel like doing shit. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like, no, like some of that was one of the segments I was going to run past you, see what you want to do, was just internet crappy hot takes. And then I was like, well, then it just singles people out. I don't really want to start internet wars.
Oh, I don't have any problem with singling people out.
Okay. But yeah, some of them, like getting kicked out for poor management. No, he's retiring, and his last day will be in March of 2024. So that doesn't sound like, yeah, they're just rushing him out the door. You better get out of here, partner.
Get him out of here. Well, plus on top of that, the other thing is that like, how many years? 30 years? Sony?
30 years.
Yeah, he's done a terrible job, actually. I mean, Sony's in shambles.
Yeah, the PlayStation 5 sales are outpacing the PlayStation 4. Terrible. Get out.
Terrible.
There's the door. Go, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, I think that they've done a great job at having like a quality console for quite a while. Yeah. The PlayStation 3 did really well. The PlayStation 4 obviously smashed the Xbox One over its knees.
Yeah.
And they also just had really good games during the Xbox 4 generation as well.
Yep.
Or PlayStation 4, sorry. PlayStation 4 generation. And PlayStation 5 has been doing the same thing. I don't understand where like the failure is coming from. I have seen people like they've taken the assumption that because they lost the ABK legal battle, how the fuck is he supposed to control what Xbox buys and Xbox does?
They didn't. Okay, Sony didn't lose the ABK deal. It wasn't Sony versus Microsoft for ABK.
No, it never was. It's just weird, dude. It's just weird. Like, oh, well, now because they know that they're done in like how many years? How long is it going to take for like the titles to come out that are going to be exclusive to Xbox only, that it's really going to make a large dent? And then also on top of that, you know what the best part is? I'll be honest with you. You know what the best part is? The assumption that your console is now going to get better games as a result of having Activision Blizzard. Who's going to fucking tell them? Who's going to tell them? Are they playing Diablo 4 right now? Are they one of the 5 people playing Diablo 4 right now? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck does Activision even make anymore? Nothing. I mean, they publish games. Yeah, Did you see Lilith and Inarius are now in Call of Duty?
Yeah, so is Spawn. So yeah.
Me and my cat boy with a real cat's face. My Lilith and fucking who else? Like, it's just so stupid.
It is. Where Sony's problem isn't so much like they've relied so much on exclusivity, be it their first party and third party acquisitions that they make, that like I don't know where their studios are with games coming out in development wise. Like, where's Naughty Dog? What are they working on? Where's, you can go down the list of their studios.
And they actually have some like really solid studios that have worked on stuff.
Yeah, no, they do. They
have really good IPs.
Yep, they make really good games. But then you go to where Microsoft's at, where they're transitioning into like this cloud service mobile. I mean, mobile is what 98% of the market right now when it comes to sharing. Somewhere like it's like 90%. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so that's where Sony's behind on that part of it, of catching up. I'm not saying they're doomed by any means, but that's just kind of where they're at as a company. They're just, they're getting into that part of the space a little late to the party on that. So.
Oh yeah. Damn normie gamers ruining it for everybody. Ain't that the truth?
Damn normies.
Yeah, it's one of those things where and I agree with some Dark Hollow says because they made $20 billion in revenue. Like the mobile games from King are making a ton of money. That's really all this has to do with. And the funny thing is that like your company can be making as much money as you want, but if they're not spending it in the right way, then it doesn't mean that you're going to get anything better as a result of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think the quality of any of Activision Blizzard games is going to go up because Microsoft bought them. Do you understand?
No. What I'm trying to say is that like I've seen the argument and discussion have taken place where they're like, oh well, they're just getting it because they're just going to make a ton of money, and then because Xbox is successful in making a ton of money, then we're going to get better games because they're just going to pump more money into those games and make them AAA blockbusters. And it's like, hold on. I need to. We're gonna see where this intersects. So you're saying that if Microsoft buys a video game company, that they're gonna make more money. So then you get better games because they'll be able to invest more money into it. So you're saying Microsoft isn't making enough money to put enough money into the games to make sure the games are good. This is Microsoft, one of the richest companies in the entire world, the most successful software company in the entire world. What are you guys talking about? They're like, oh no, they just need the money. It's the money. That's what they're after.
No, honestly,
they are right. They are after the money.
I think Activision and Blizzard are just the icing on the cake of what they wanted was King. It was
King. Yeah, it's the mobile shit that they're really interested in. They could give a shit less about World of Warcraft and Call of Duty.
And that's what they wanted. No, to your point, how much sense is it? Hey, we're going to spend $70 billion to sell more games so that we can put more money into our own studio's games that we already own.
You know, like that whole conversation's so weird too, because at the same time with Microsoft, like they talk about how like, if this doesn't work, we're just going to leave gaming. You guys just spent $70 billion to fucking leave gaming. Shut the fuck up. You fucking dishonest, victimhood. Guys, we're just little old Microsoft. We're like the little grandpa. We're like the little grandpa that you love. Grandpa. It's Grandpa Bill. Everybody's gotta love Grandpa Bill. We're just getting beat up by mean old Sony. Like, what are you guys doing? Shut the fuck up. Like, we know what you guys are trying to do. You're trying to corner the entire market. You're trying to capture as many studios as you possibly can under your wing so that when you guys push to cloud gaming, because you realize that at one point in time there is going to be an intersection in which hardware is not going to be the thing you're going to push, because they aren't lying. They will leave the they will leave the gaming market in hardware. They will stop selling hardware and instead they will do software. They'll do software only, and how they're going to do that is through their cloud and through their Xbox store. And they'll sell their Xbox store after they've acquired so many studios that it puts the other gaming consoles in a hard place where they're like, well, do you guys want to know what Xbox wants to be? Xbox wants to be Steam. Steam that can also be on Nintendo and on PlayStation. Yep. And on your TV and on your phone. And on your computer. The new iPhone. That's what they want to. They don't want to, because a lot of people forget that Xbox hardware sales of console sales is a loss leader. It's to sell the software afterwards and be able to make the money off of that, not the actual hardware itself. Ecosystem. Yes. It's making money off of everything else after the accessories that you buy, all of that stuff. There's a ton of different things that the subscription services like Xbox Live has made a ton of money for Xbox over the years. And the same thing goes for Game Pass. What you're going to see is you're going to see them slowly but surely exit out of the market, and they're going to become the first Netflix of gaming.
Yep.
And actually, I had wrote an entire fucking thesis basically on this. I still have the script. It's a long video. It's the longest script I've ever written, and I never put the video out because I just didn't really feel like people would actually watch it, because it's probably like at least a 45-minute to an hour long video. And in that, I actually found an interview where they were discussing how transformative Netflix was and how insanely crazy Netflix was. And this is before they ever dreamt up Game Pass. This is years ago. This is back on the Xbox One. Interviews that they had, and they, like, you could tell just how, like, how thirsty, how enamored they were with the idea of Netflix. And I was like, oh, so that's where it started. That's where it started. That's where it started.
I mean, Microsoft has a good track record of managing its studios and putting out, high quality games. Do you think Bobby Kotick's getting fired? I bet not. I bet he stays. No. You wanna know why he stays? Because they can't manage their own shit. And right now, Activision Blizzard King does what it does under his tutelage. So,
actually, to be honest with you, there's a really good chance that Bobby Kotick gets a longer leash.
Yeah. I don't think he needs a longer leash. Again, needs an eyeball put on him, but.
No. I'm saying there's a really good chance that we'll see Bobby Kotick not only over Activision Blizzard, but also helping
some studios. Yeah,
exactly. Also under 343 or whoever else. I think that's what you're likely going to see. You're going to see Bobby Kotick actually take over a larger position within Activision Blizzard.
Yep.
And the funny thing is that the folks that believe that Bobby, like, no offense to you, Dark Hollow. You're saying you think Bobby Kotick is out? Okay. I'm a shareholder of Activision Blizzard. Bobby Kotick is a god. He does nothing but make me money. Diablo 4 is one of the fastest selling games of all time. Diablo 3 was one of the fastest selling games of all time. World of Warcraft is still making money. Hell, we're selling the old version, the original version of a 20-year-old game, and people are still paying for that shit. Overwatch, we damn near sunk that shit, but we're still making money off that, baby. Yow! Activision Blizzard, King, all these different properties are making them boatloads of money. With no players now, it doesn't matter. They've already made the money. They still got their return on investment, regardless. Yep. So, like, for them, like, yeah, technically it would be nice if Diablo 4 was being pumped with microtransactions, but let's be actually realistic here, okay? I don't want people to get it twisted. When they update Diablo 4, and they do eventually put more money into it because the company can't afford to do so because the company already makes a shitload of money to begin with, and they do get Diablo 4 to get to the point where it can actually somewhat hypothetically compete with other ARPGs, people will go back.
Yep, they will.
And then it'll suck again, and then they'll leave, and then they'll come back. And it'll suck again, and then they'll leave, and they'll come back, because that's just how we are. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like Diablo's dead forever. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a great game, and I'm not gonna say it deserves players. But I'm definitely not going to say that it's not going to be able to capture an audience, because it will. Because there's tons of people that have no interest in playing RPGs that play Diablo anyway.
Yep.
Just the same as, like, when we're talking about these silent masses that push sales, that's what we're talking about. It might as well be. It doesn't matter. See, that's the common misconception that a lot of people have. They believe that PoE 2 is the game that's just going to crush it. Path of Exile speaks to a very, very niche crowd.
Yep.
Very niche.
It's too complicated for the casual gamer.
Yes, by a long shot. Don't get me wrong. The people that play it are very dedicated to it, and I'm not saying that Path of Exile 2 is a bad game. I'm just saying it does not speak to the wider audience that Diablo does. That's the reason why people are still playing World of Warcraft, because there are other MMOs that they could play, but they're more difficult. or expensive. Even casuals left Diablo 4 at this point because casuals always leave.
Yeah.
Casuals always leave.
Casuals
they
are
always
there to
come
keep
back.
your community going. They're there to buy the game for your initial rush of just their sales, right? That's what they were. And they were hoping, they're going to keep a percentage of those casuals that bought the game. They are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like I said, they were there just to money bag initially.
People are still playing Overwatch 2. People are still playing World of Warcraft, and those games have arguably gone through worse.
Have you seen what
worse than Diablo has? What?
Have you seen what Call of Duty's done? It's no longer like when you go to your Steam deal, it's just under one tab. It's just Call of Duty. It's not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
They've made it into its own deal, so now that the Modern Warfare 3 will literally be a $70 expansion to your Call of Duty experience.
Yeah. Well, and that's it's the Diablo 4 conversation is a little bit more complex than a lot of people give it credit for.
Nuanced.
Yes. Yeah. It's not just as simple as like games need to be made for hardcore players, and if they're not made for hardcore players, then the game is just going to die. And even if a game is made for casual players, like it's still going to go through waves and then come back. I will say that for sure, Diablo 4 does not have the content to be able to. Diablo 4 does not have the content to be able to hold people, but with enough marketing and enough content, yeah, people will go back. Look at Diablo 3. People fucking hate Diablo 3. People have said Diablo 3 is like the worst Diablo game ever made. All of a sudden, Diablo final patch comes out for Diablo 3, and people are over there fucking deep-throating it. Am I wrong?
No.
Tell me I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like, who's that game made for? There's people that are playing it and going back and playing it, and people making videos and talking about it and content and etc. So I'm just saying, like, I don't get it. Like, it's not over for that game yet. You would have to absolutely fucking kill it. Plus, on top of that, you have to keep in mind that that company has enough money to pump money into a dead corpse and revive it if they want to.
Yeah.
It's not like the tarot. It's not like they have to read tarot cards to figure out what the community wants. They know what the community wants. It's just a difference of whether or not they find it more profitable to make it or to cut it loose. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
Diablo's not dead. Technically, it's kind of right now. It's on the.
Oh no, it's dead. It's dead. D4 is a corpse at the moment. Yeah.
I'm just like it'll come out like in a couple seasons. They'll add some cool stuff, probably some new characters. Someone will want to jump in to see, how's this character work. You also have to remember that the Diablo franchise is still making money with Immortal.
Right, and that's the other thing too. There's a whole other community, whole other crowd that will also shift over to Diablo once it actually has more content. And that's kind of the point to make. Like, once the game has more content, and they are going to put more into it because they do want to farm people for microtransactions.
Oh yeah,
they saw how popular the initial launch was, but they underestimated what would be necessary for players to continue to play the game until their updates really kicked in.
Yeah, and like their leveling speed at which you can level. Kind of gated your length of play, so it was like at level 70 there's really no point to go further, even though you could go further. So it was just short-sighted on their part. Anyway, that's a long story. It's more nuanced. I mean, you can go into the game was in development hell until about 2 years ago. I mean, it's like there's all kinds of things you can go into about the game where it's at. But yeah, I think it's going to be fixed. I think it's still going to be around for a while. But back to Bobby Kotick. I think he's going to be staying, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my thing. I don't think there's any reason at all that they would be looking. And the other thing is this is something that a lot of people ignore. Microsoft is already been moving people over there.
Yeah.
Like, who's their president right now?
For what, Microsoft or Blizzard?
For Blizzard.
Oh shit, Ybarra.
Where did Ybarra come from?
Xbox.
Who's the
Rod Ferguson?
Yep. And who do you think? And who made those hires?
Bobby Kotick.
Yep. So it's one of those things I think people are really underestimating just how intertwined the corporate the corporate ties between Microsoft and Activision Blizzard actually is. And for people to be like, yeah, Bobby Kotick's done a terrible job. Well, no, not really, because I mean, like in a player sense, yes, absolutely. In a player sense, 100%. In a profit sense,
yeah.
no.
Honestly, if none of the HR problems happened, nobody would even be having this discussion. That's all it boils down to, was the HR issues.
No, I mean, like Blizzard fans have wanted to get rid of Bobby Kotick since forever.
Okay.
For a long time. Yeah, this is a discussion that started well before they ever had the
Cosby room.
Yeah. This is something way before then. Yeah, I won't pretend like that. But the thing is, like, the players aren't the ones that call for the head, right? It's the board that does. And the board only calls for their head if they're losing the money. And right now, they're not losing the money.
Oh, speaking of which, okay, while I was doing all that research, I know this is kind of weird off topic, but I was looking at Epic's financials because, you know, they're increasing their fake money by inflation. There's like 50 investors for Epic. 50 investors that they're answering to. Surprisingly, PlayStation or Sony is one of them, but Tencent, and you can just go down the list of all these different LLCs that are bought into it. So, like, I imagine almost every company's like that. These video game companies, they have so many investors that they have to make all these people happy. Like, that's probably why we keep getting some stupid bullshit that happens. Yeah, but I was just so shocked on how many investors Epic Games had. It was ridiculous. I didn't even put them all on the list because I didn't feel like copy and snipping it. Anyway, so just Dark Hollow thinks that Bobby Kotick's going to be gone. Anybody else? What are your bets? Over under Bobby Kotick in the house? I think he's going to stay mainly because Phil Spencer, as much as I like Phil Spencer, he can't run all of those studios. He can't run it.
For money.
It's proven that he can't run it all. Matt Booty, which is the guy who's over the studios now, he's the new Phil Spencer. He can't run it all by himself, and I'm thinking they're either gonna have to split the groups up and hire more SARs, so to speak, to manage the studios. But yeah, I just don't think they're gonna like just out the dude and then, you know, welcome on in. I'm hoping that some of those developing groups get to take over some of the other Microsoft IP to make those games. You know what I mean? Like Halo made by an Infinity Ward would be kind of cool. Or an ODST made by Infinity Ward would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's why I say I think some of these studios, especially with like the specialization of Activision and like first-person shooters in general, competitive shooters, probably will fall under Activision's control. They will probably start shuffling some of these around and putting them in a place where they believe that they're going to get better guidance or have access to better tools. It could be a tool-related thing as well, right?
Yeah.
So, I am actually out of things to talk, and I got other stuff to take care of before I have to round out my day because I have to be up for 4 o'clock. Be up at actually 3:30 in the morning tomorrow.
Hi, me too.
So
I gotta be at work at 3:30.
So a shout out to our channel members. I just want to say I really appreciate you guys joining as members to the channel. It's super cool that you guys do. Like any added support does help. It does. It just like it helps get better equipment. It helps with me potentially being able to not have to work as much as I already do, which is really cool. And I want to just tell you guys that I really appreciate it. It's super. I don't. It's not something I ever expect. But it is something that's incredibly appreciated. So I do want to shout out Fawns, Scriber, Tom, Jackie, Cody, Daz, Half Dead Saint, and Tomby. I really appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I only hope that I can continue to make it worth it for you folks. So, outside of that, yeah, we'll be chatting in the Discord, hanging out. I'm hopefully going to be able to crack out a couple videos this week. It might only be one, but we'll see how we'll see how that happens. And yeah, that's really all I got. It's been a good show though. A lot longer than I thought it was going to be.
A lot longer. I mean, we kind of rambled, but I like rambling.
It's fine. Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. All right. So you guys have a absolutely fantastic week. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, my friends, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.